Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
We're all Richard Allen! We're all Richard Allen!
Well, happy Easter, everybody. Or, I don't know if Passover's still going on, but happy Passover. For if it's still happening. I don't know if it's right at the end of it or what. Let's see. Richard Watts. I thought you were a channel member, Richard Watts. What's going on, man? Make yourself available. Yeah. Anyways, I thought today we could do like, just talk about whatever anybody wanted to talk about. Plus, I wanted to go over that one of those 5 new documents that came out, the one with Amazon on it, and just kind of look at that one again. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, and I think there's a lot of stuff that people, for some reason, still don't know. Or when you talk, they especially pro-burgers, they're really unaware of the factual elements of the case because their heads are always buried in the sands of misinformation given to them by other, true crime. Well, they're not really true crime. I just call them, like, what's the opposite of true? False crime YouTubers. I mean, these guys are have no conscience whatsoever, zero integrity, and just sell a bunch of crap to their viewers on a daily basis because it's popular, it's cool, it's neato. Pretty sad, right? So I thought we'd do, so here's what we're going to do at first. I'm going to go through this house, and it's going to be like a quiz, and you guys are going to tell me what room is which, but if you get it right, your answer goes up on this spin for a notebook at the end of the show. That's if we reach the goal. If we don't reach the goal, I can't do the notebook. But if you answer twice, like if you win, you get it first, and then you're up there, and then you answer the next one, you get removed from the list. All right. So once you win one of the questions, then you don't get to answer any more questions after that. Okay. You can think of it in your head, but if you type it in and I look up there and I see that you already won, it gets removed. All right. How do you like that? Neato. Yeah. Probably when I was a kid. But also on this show, you guys, we're currently at 0. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel as we go through tonight's show, I would appreciate it. The channel relies on you guys on a nightly basis, and that's all I got for you. We got the coffees, we got the super chats, we got the channel memberships, etc. And then near the end of the month, we give away. I give away, like, I don't know. I try to give thousands of dollars at the end of each month. I mean, last month we gave away $5,000 of the income, and if you can, there's other true crime YouTubers that do way better than my channel, and they give nothing every single month, and it's up to them. I don't even know if there's anything wrong about it, but they're always the one bitching and complaining, and hey, Gray, you don't give enough or whatever. It's weird stuff. Anyways, So everybody recognizes this part, the house right here, right? Like this is exactly what it looks like, everything, right? All right, so right when the door opens up here, what room is this one over here on the right? Okay, what room is this? And if you get it wrong, you get put into another bucket of shame. I'm just kidding. Ah, look at that. Okay, Kami. Now, Kami, if you answer another question, you get removed. All right? So that's how it works. All right, so Kami was first. You got to make sure that you're on live here. If you don't have your YouTube on live, then you're out of luck. Okay? Now, I don't know which one. I think that's probably the laundry room and bathroom. I don't really care. So as you come in right here, and then whose room is this right here? Whose room is that one? Oh, like you got there. Looks like Mark got that one. Now you're going to be in a spin at the end, but we have to reach the goal to be able to do the spin. So there won't be a spin unless we reach the goal tonight, and we're still at 0, even after I just said what I said. All right, so Mark got that one. All right, comes around, and then where does the staircase here lead to? What room? Okay, Ace Jackson got that one. And again, if you know, Mark or any of these other guys answer another one, they get tossed out. All right, Ace Jackson got that one. You guys want to make sure that you're live right here. All right, then when you get to the top here, that's the living room, right? And then whose room is that right down there? Right there. All right. Bleed green. Got that one. You guys are too slow, everybody, all the rest of you guys. You guys might be typing it in right around the same time. And Canna, you get deducted points for typing in Canna. Okay. I do see that the C is near the X on the keyboard, but thank you, Lizzie Rob. Appreciate it. And then what's this door right here on the left? All right, so Heather Murphy got that one. And also, if you send in, so what we got here is Lizzie Robb sent 5 in. Every 5 that you send in, if you send in 10, you get 2. So Lizzie Robb has a win, basically, a pie wedge. And so if you send in 10, you get 2, etc., etc., etc. And by the way, when you see somebody else has already typed in bathroom, everyone else doesn't have to type in bathroom for 6 hours. I bet. Well, I guess if Ireland is counted as UK, I guess. I don't know. I've been to Ireland. And why? Yeah, it's weird how people keep typing in bathroom after somebody won bathroom like an hour ago. Ah, jeez. Now there's somebody on rewind typing in living room. So I think Ethan Chapin's on the bed right there, perhaps, and the blood came down and went outside the back. All right. So we're coming back out of the living room. And what's this door right there? Right there. What's this door? No, Cindy. Yeah, pantry is the actual answer. Yeah. So that's going to be Mary Gasper. Nope, so you guessed Dylan. That's a demerit. I'm talking about this door right there, alright? And then what room is this one right here? That door. Mary, you just lost your last win. So who got it out there? Mary. Yeah, we got Heather Murphy. So Mary, you lost your last win because that was one of the rules. You don't get to answer the next one either. So there you go. You got that one removed. Now I guess you're open to try to win again, but if you... Well, actually, you don't get to win twice, so you're out. That's the problem. Darn it, Mary. So then it's going to be Heather Murphy with that one. All right, and I mean, I don't know what to say on this, but at the top here, what this window right here, where is that facing? This window right here. Where is this facing right there? Why are you confused, Baghdad lady? I think Baghdad lady, well, if you're confused, how did you get that one right? Jesus. All right. Now Baghdad lady, who was really confused, typed in front. No, I don't keep skipping over you, Baghdad lady. That's the first win that you've had. I don't care what your other answers were. I just look for the first one. All right, right here on the left. Whose room is this right here on the left right here? Oh, Heather Murphy, you just lost your last win, and you don't get to... Okay, you're completely out of it now. All right, you don't get to win. I've already explained it to you 5 times. All right, nobody... I said if you type in again after you've already won, you don't get to win another pie wedge. So now you're completely out of it. Let's see. We had... So the winner is... And Baghdad Lady's also out. You can't win anymore. It's amazing how people just can't follow the rules. It's so easy. So I guess it's Kayla Marie who's the first legitimate winner on that one. And that's if you win. If you're if you type it in again and you're a winner, you don't get to win. It's the... I mean, I don't care if you answer and you're 17 comments down. That doesn't bother me. I told you the rule 5 minutes ago, Baghdad lady. No, you don't get to answer anymore. All right, let's see. Wait, Zozo's here. So hey, Zozo, I'm going to start over here really quick, all right? All right, Zozo, watch this. You've seen this picture right here before, right? This front of the house, right? Have you seen this? The front of the house right here, that's the typical picture you always see of the house. Like, just for a couple minutes, focus on what we're doing here. I told you I was going to do this. I need her to answer. What do you mean? You've seen the house 1,000 times. It's the picture in the front of the house right there. You see it? Hey, Baghdad lady, the show isn't about you either, okay? So you need to calm down a little bit. you're just really starting to be annoying. You've typed like 17 different comments in here, and you're just not that interesting. All right, let's see. Oh, Jesus. Let's time to time this person out here. Let's see. Yeah, well, it was fun until you just kept typing over and over. Ah, see how you keep going right there? Look at that. There you go, see? I don't even know if you were legit from the beginning. All right. So we were near the top of the, let me go all the way back up there. At the top of the stairs here, Zozo took off. The stair on the left over there, you had Kaylee, right? And then you go into her room. There's the deck there, and then you come out. And then there is, what is this room right over here? Straight ahead. See that? What is that one right straight ahead? No, it's not. It's a bathroom. Dawn got it right. Man, Cindy, you know, you almost don't even know any of them. It's amazing. So you got Dawn here. Let's see. All right, and then what room is this one on the right here? What do you mean it's my wife? What are you talking about, Tom? My wife isn't mad at all, you idiot. Hey, someone block that Tom person there. Okay, thanks. Let's see. So the winner here is Paroshki Sellers. There we go. What kind of an idiot comment is that? God, what kind of a moron shows up to a channel? It has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying, when somebody just keeps typing in over and over and over and over again, like Baghdad Lady right there. I didn't time you out. I just said remove your comments. I was before her. No, I mean, I'm just going by the order that's on my screen. Your screen at home might be different. All right. And there was Alley Cake up there. Not sure what happened. Let's see, I think come here and provoke Gray. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's wild what they do in here. These people. Yeah, see, these are people that are, I think they're part of the crew that came in here. You can just tell. Well, we can't even do the spin unless we reach the goal. That's how I can afford it. So we're currently not even close. So if anybody out there has the ability to help support the channel like we do every single night, that would be great. We have 0 new channel members. We're at $8.19. We have one coffee in there from Paulette Leonard. God, it's just so wild, these people. You know, they come in here and it's just, you know. Poking the bear. Oh yeah, I don't know. Any others with my name here? And I don't know. Not sure what you're talking about. If you live in the UK, also I can't send it a win. It costs like $25 to ship something over there, unfortunately. Yeah, I didn't rip on everybody, did I? I ripped on the people that needed ripping on. Parashka, or not Parashka, back of the line idiot. I mean, you're so stupid. It's like, yeah, if I was sitting here ripping on everybody, that wouldn't make any sense. That didn't happen. I'm saying that when we were doing the questions, if you, if you answer a question and then you win, then you answer another one, you get removed off of there, because I want other people to have a chance to have their name on there. You get what I'm saying? So if you're out there just throwing it out every second, then it doesn't allow other people to have a chance to win. I don't know why that doesn't make sense to people. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go back down here. That's pretty much the walkthrough of the house. All right, you still there, Zozo? Here, check it out. Check it out. Let's just do this. Okay, just try to find time for about 2 minutes of time. Okay, right here. See, like, this is the house. This is the house that everybody, all the pictures are. See that? It looks exactly like the one that I have on the screen because it's a model of it. See? Right there. That's where the front of the house is. Can you guys all see that? All right. And so when you come into the house, right when you come in, the front door, and then right off to the right over here is where they would put just a storage room that they use to put storage crap in. Then we have like the utility room and the bathroom right here on the right. This is that lower level, the first floor, ground level. And then here is where Bethany Funk's room was. And right above her head is the living room. And you'll see, because I'm going to turn around, come back down. Again, right in front of me, that's the storage unit. That's the front door to the house. Then you go up the stairs, and now you're in the living room. And just below here is Bethany Funk's room. Okay? Then we're turning right and going down the hallway. And this is Xana Kernodle's room. And her room is directly above the storage room. And then you go back out. So those are, right now we have, you have the lower level windows, the middle level windows in the front. And then we're back in the living room again. And then as you're exiting the living room, right there on the left is where Dylan Mortensen's room was. And right above her head is where Madison Mogen's room is. So like if you're in this room, right up here is Madison Mogen's bedroom, right above her head. And then you go out of her room and look, straight ahead is the kitchen. That's where Xana Kernodle perhaps picked up the DoorDash from the back slider. And then out of Dylan's room, you can go right up the stairs. And then at the top of the stairs, you turn left, and that is Kaylee Gonzalez's room. And then looking back at the, we do the 1-1. Actually, I can just do it from here. So from the front of the house, it's like this: storage unit, Bethany Funk, living room, Xana Kernodle, and then Kaylee Gonzalez's room. In fact, you can see a portion of my camera in that room right there. This is a window at the top of the landing on the front of the house side, and this is the bathroom window. So if we go back to this shot, we're back into Kaylee's room. There's the balcony from her room. She actually has a balcony back there, and that's right above the kitchen's cement patio. And then when you leave Kaylee's room, that's the bathroom that had the window outside in the front upper left. And then in the back of the house, there's a window that goes out to the deck there, and this is Madison Mogen's room. And just below here is Dylan Mortensen's room. All right, so if we go to let me just show you this right here. This is a cool way to look at it. So there's the front of the house. I'm just going to go up to the second floor already. Alright, so this is the living room after you came up the stairs. And right there is Anna Kernodle's room. And this is inside of her room. And right above her head is not Kaylee Gonzalez's room. Her room starts at the corner right there. So if I was to look at the wireframe version, her room isn't even anywhere over her room whatsoever. I forgot about that. There's a part that sticks out of the house, and way up there, that is Kaylee's room. So Xana's kind of has her own little space, and below her is the storage unit. So that's the room that came into the storage unit. That's the front door right there. That room way over there is Bethany Funk's bedroom, looking down. And then we're going back this direction. And let's just go here. So that's Dylan Mortensen's room. The kitchen's right there. So using the model where you can see through a little bit, like let's make it about 50%, like that. So there's Dylan Mortensen. Now look, right above her head is where Madison Mogan was. This thing here should really help people see this. Hey, thanks Don Welshman, and up there to Mallory Beavers. Thank you. Let me put you guys into the spin in case we get to the goal tonight. And thanks for the people participating. Yeah. Alright. Hey, thanks so much, Lanky Tor. Very cool. And happy Easter to you guys as well. Is this kind of making sense right now, though? Look at. That's Dylan Mortensen's room. This is right in the hallway. Look at the living room is right there. I mean, if I just make it a little less transparent, like that. See how you can see, like there's a living room. There's Dylan's room. And then right above her head, right up there, you can see Kaylee on the bed, and Madison's up there on the bed too. All right. And then you keep going, moving upstairs. This is in Dylan's room, actually. This one's pretty crazy. Inner room, watch this. So right above her head is where, look where Madison and Kaylee were. You don't think that would have been freaky right there? Yeah, the sliding glass door is on the level that I'm on now. So if you go, watch when we go out this door here. Actually, I think I'll do one right before that. The one I'll have to use. This one. So that's Dylan Mortensen's room. And then look, there's the kitchen, and there's the sliding glass door right there. So it's on the second floor. They used to call it 2B. Like 2A is in this area, and then 2B is right here. There's this little step down, like 6 inches, and then right here is 2B, and the kitchen and Dylan Mortensen are basically in 2B, and then there's 3 upstairs. So like level 3. So let's go up there. So those are those stairs that came up. Now we're at the top, and that's Kaylee's room right there. And again, this is the bathroom, and that's Madison's room right there. And this is inside of Kaylee's room. And then that's Kaylee's room right there that I just came out of. And that's a bathroom here, and now he's walking into Madison's room. And so let's just go to this version right here where you can see through. Now look, see there's Dylan right there, right down below. So she heard everything for sure right there. Hey, by the way, I don't. You guys don't need to block that one person who just kept typing over and over and over again. It was just weird, you know. I don't even know who that was. Was that Baghdad lady? that who it was? Oh, yeah. I don't know if they're blocked or timed out or what, but just unblock that person. It was more frustrating reading all the comments over and over and over and over again when I'm just trying to Madison and Kaylee's. I don't want people. I want the trolls blocked. You could tell who they were up there. Everybody's seen this time ago. In my opinion, you're a bit slow on the update. Who are you talking to? Grafter? Everybody's seen this time ago. In my opinion, you're a bit slow on the update. I've been going over this for 2 years, idiot. I'm not sure who the hell you're talking to. I'm just going over it again because there's still people that actually don't know the layout. Okay, and you're probably one of them because you're probably a pro burger, and you guys are the most clueless people about the factual elements of the case that there ever were. Yeah, we'll delete that one and block that one. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not new to me. There's people that, you know, when you see it, it's interesting, right? Because you're just, you know, a lot of people, you just keep seeing the same crap over and over, and you're not over here. So we do show this a lot over and over here, but I think it's absolutely important to know the layout. And I don't know if they're going to be theorizing at trial or anything like that. I don't know. Well, I thought you said it was a new account, Zozo. Well, no, I'm just showing it to you again. I was doing a trivia thing, but I was showing it to you again because you showed up. And you mentioned that you didn't know where the layout was, so I'm showing it to you. Oh, the bag one was? Oh, okay. Well, get rid of the other one, too, that made that comment. There's no reason. You go onto a show and you make a comment like that, you should just expect to be removed immediately. Hey, cool. Yeah. Especially this way because it shows everything. Yeah. This little thing here, I'm going to make a better one of this later where it's going to have characters in the scene. You know, I'll probably do 2 or 3 different ones to show like different scenarios. Maybe like scenario 1 and 2 on the screen, and maybe have one where he's encountering Xana first. Yeah, I have that. Well, I made one a long time ago where it's an animation. Well, that's the one I just did recently where I added it to the Elantra movement where it goes through the sliding glass door. Right? Yeah. Hey, thanks, K-Me. You know, we have no gifted memberships tonight so far, you guys. Gray, you're so mean to your subs. Hey, I tell you what, the people that I argue with like that, I don't want them to be my subs, okay? They are people that are ridiculous people, all right? That come in, whenever we talk about these cases, their feelings have been hurt so badly in the past because their theories aren't true, and they get upset about it. So when you have somebody that's been putting out the factual information for 2 years on this case, I've been covering this since the day, I think within 2 days of them being killed, I've been covering this case. And I built the 3D model, I think within the first 3 months. And I've had it this whole time, and we use it all the time over here to go through different scenarios and theories, etc. And I just think it's crazy that there's people out there who just have no, I mean, what I'm saying, like, they're pro-burgers, so they have no idea about anything. Yeah, well, we don't know who was first or not, do we? Kim, not your cup of tea. Wait, hold on. I gotta turn that on. Oh yeah. Move around about me and the crew about some way that I'm supposed to do. You might not have heard, or maybe you have not. I first been a little bit less like. Used to get angry and all uptight. You can say what you want to spell my name right. Oh, remember guilty of was rocking a house. That's what the room was all about. Used to me after them telling all your friends, and if you don't wait till you see me again this way, I can hear from the horse's mouth right then and there. Straight that out. Woo!
Thanks, Grant.
There we go.
Great to spend this evening with you, Kim.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Very kind, very kind. All right. So, does anybody have any questions about this right now? Okay, because I can show you anything on here. I have everything set up on the screen. For example, I have, if we don't use this one over here, I can go to this one, and this is the exact, this is it, right? So that sliding glass door is right there, right? And then it goes down to the lower level on the right over here. See? There we go. Rainy Joe. Thank you. Purchased a membership for Parashka Sellers. Well, you already won a membership, so. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I forgot to get Lanky Tor in there. No, I got you in there. Yep, so there you go. So what kind of questions you guys have? In here, I can show you the same thing. It looks like this is the back of the house. If you're up in that parking spot behind the house, you're kind of like at this angle, about like that. Where you can see right into Madison Mogan's room. And then there's a little hill that you can walk down. There's retaining walls, etc. Like I don't have the retaining wall here. That's just what it looks like. Above or near the driveway. You know what? I don't know. Those detectives in that last video that I made, they seemed like they were... They seemed like they were kind of looking up in that parking area. Like that seemed to be their theory. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that he drove up here, like up into this area. Here's the parking spot. So parked here, whatever. Like the times where he drove around, he may have stopped in this area and looked and could see that, maybe the lights were still on, etc. We were told that everybody was in bed by 4. So this is Madison Mogan's room right there. So he could have parked right there. And then it's a really easy walk down this hill there. I mean, it's just simple. And look, just look. Even from here, it's just not hard. This fence was not there. And it also could have parked down here along there on the last time. Like once he was sure after monitoring and watching, he may have parked down there. Now, it was really interesting if any of you guys were watching the Danny Rolling videos, or the 2 different things I did on him. I did a whole live stream last night. It's crazy, really. So here's the thing: is I don't think Koberger and Danny Rolling are similar people at all. Okay, I think that Koberger, from studying different killers, may have incorporated some of each one of these, a few different killers' techniques or etc. I don't think that's even crazy to think of it like that. In that case, he apparently jimmied open sliding glass doors. This one right here, did Koberger go there, or was he prepared to get in, just like that guy? And he learned how to get into sliding glass doors. And then maybe he broke it when he did that. And that's what we talked about a few days ago. Maybe he broke the sliding glass door when he went in, and that's why the cops had to use the stools to keep the door locked after that. You see what I'm saying? Doesn't that make sense? Well, thanks, Marcy. Appreciate it. Today I was collecting a bunch of PDF files on the West Mesa in New Mexico, like the bone collector, whatever the hell it was. I have like I got like 20 PDF files, or newspapers.com, following it over the years. I mean, most of it just starts in 2009, but that one's crazy. That one's a lot of them are the sex workers again. It's just like sex workers today are the what serial killers generally, the ones that, if they're not breaking into your home or something. It used to be when people would hitchhike, they'd get into your car. Now the only people that would get into your car would be sex workers, because everyone knows how dangerous it is to be a hitchhiker. They're still willing to do it because that's how they make money. All right, let's see. QQQ map. I don't even know what that means. Let's see, or tourists. It's not odd, John Doe, neither did the Southport killer. Yeah, and then also in the what we learned in the killings of those 5 people by Danny Rolling, none of them screamed, you guys. None of them. So, what do you make of that? Well, how come there was no screaming, Gray? Why do people say stuff like that? It's mind-boggling, especially people that claim to be following true crime. You're always wondering why something didn't happen, and it's just, sometimes it doesn't happen. There doesn't have to be your explanation. Let's see. There wasn't... we don't know if there was any blood outside or not. We have no idea if there was. I mean, there's a lot of things people claim that they know for certain, and I mean, for example, the footprints, right? I bet you there's bloody footprints in that house. They just happened to find the one that was next to Dylan Mortensen's room on the second pass. It doesn't mean like, there wasn't other footprints. Didn't police find bloodstains on Brian Koberger's mattress? I don't remember. I sort of remember like a rumor about that, but I don't remember reading that. All right, we're currently at 40% of the goalie guys, so if you're out there, if you could help support the channel, then we can have their spin at the end of the show. That would be great. Hope they found something useful in the vacuum cleaner in his apartment. Gray, do you think that there might be more neighborhood video? I don't think so. I actually think that what we saw in those documents is what they've got. That's why I'm a little bit, curious about the, people don't watch my videos all the time, so they don't know what I'm referring to. It's just sad. Like one time you get 20,000 views, the next time 4, and that means 16,000 didn't see what I'm, think is interesting. There was twice, I think it was right around in the third loop, the vehicle drives over here, but it doesn't show up as, by what we know on this Linda Lane camera. That's 1320 that shot down this direction. The 1320 Linda Lane camera that shot here, it showed the vehicle coming in early at 3:29, and then online, the copy of that surveillance is 5 hours long, but the only part that's missing is from 3:30 until 4:05, which is absolutely incredible. Like, and then a couple times the Elantra comes around like this, and it does not go into here because it would have been seen on the 111 King Road camera, which is this house right here. And that's that, I don't know if you're still there, Zozo, but remember that really good shot, that really clear surveillance footage shot that's out there? That's from this house right here, and it films cars coming in and then going back this direction, etc. And it also films light back behind on Willanta Drive, and you can sort of keep tracking the vehicle as it's moving around. But there's, I think it's 3 different times on one of the loops, the car drives north on Willanta Drive, but they don't mention anybody passing Linda Lane here. But that footage is missing on the online version. So is it really missing in real life and the vehicle did go there? Or did the vehicle drive over and maybe park around in here? Because you can see, if you look at my 360-degree video, if we go down to, I think about right, a little bit before that, yeah, almost right in that area. Maybe just back slightly, maybe a little bit more. Right here. See, you could park right there and then look at this line on the ground and then look where it goes. Right there. So you could have parked over here out on Taylor Avenue and you could get a straight shot of the residence, and then the vehicle, perhaps, I had it park on the side of the road because that's where I had parked when I was there one time. And so maybe it does a U-turn and then comes back, because then they have it driving south on Willanta Drive again, but it's not picked up on Linda Lane or this Ridge Road camera over here. I mean, I have videos out there where I drove the entire route back, like from the house all the way down south, cutting across those crazy roads, and then heading north again and returning to Pullman, Washington, exactly when you would expect to be there. I even have a clock ticking away. It's really unbelievable. Yeah, it's really dark out there. Hey, thanks, Marcy. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about some of your guys' theories that you might have. What are your theories in this one? Like where he parked, etc. Gray, you went too fast through there. It's because I've already done it. With the time frame missing from the video, could that be because law enforcement well, if they did, why wasn't it in that document? See, this is what I'm telling everybody. The document was very accurate and thorough, saying where each sighting of the Elantra was, when, and etc., etc. If they actually had the footage from 1320, I think they would have said it. They would have said, okay, and then it passes here, and it passes over here. And they don't even mention it when it leaves. Remember at 4 o'clock when the DoorDash driver was there? It drives by, it has to drive by that camera. And then the vehicle's seen heading south and then east slightly and then south again right by the Ridge Road camera. So right around 4, the vehicle would be driving like this around, and it came down, and then at 4:01:30, it's right there. And see, they didn't even mention that. And that's a 24-hour-a-day running camera. It's not a motion-activated camera right here on Linda Lane. car stop when he didn't want to give police his phone. Yeah, I guess they have to edit that stuff out. That's not going to be in there. They're just going to use that for identification purposes, perhaps. And that might even include missing a front license plate. Yeah, I don't, John. Yeah, I used to, at the very beginning, they weren't clearing the boyfriend of Kaylee, and I thought maybe he had something to do with it, because they even, I mean, he was really interesting, because at 2:45, remember that? It was Kaylee called her boyfriend multiple times, and then Madison called, and then Kaylee tried calling one last time. And then I think it was like just after that, Kaylee called Bethany, I believe, if that's right. I don't think the trial's going to start in August. I think it might. I mean, Ann Taylor is just lazy, okay? I mean, there's no two ways around it. She's just a really lazy attorney who's had way more than enough time to have looked at the surveillance footage. And she, you know, the whole terabyte thing is getting really old, because like when I make a video on YouTube and it's 30 minutes long and I record it, yeah, some of those times it's like 15 or 20 gigabytes, right? So, you know, if you had 50 of those, well, I mean, you're already at a terabyte. So why aren't you watching these videos? It's not hard. You can play them fast too. Get to the time frame that matters. Man, I would love to be able to see all the discovery. I mean, my God, it'd just be so amazing. But here's the thing. What would it be like if you're a defense attorney and you just kind of already know your client did it? Maybe you don't have the same interest level, you know, because, you know, you're just going to keep proving, and then it would just make you feel like, oh, geez, God, I don't even want to do this, because I keep watching, seeing everything I see points to my client being guilty. I don't need to go to the trial. I could go to the trial, but why would I go to it? Doesn't make any sense. It's streaming live, so, I mean, if I'm there, I can't even stream it with everybody. Now, I'm sure I'll miss some things, right? Like, you know, there's stuff that can't be on camera, whatever, but that's okay. I think you guys would rather be able to watch it. And I think you should watch it with me, because I am going to be able to, you know, during the breaks and etc., show you on the screen exactly what they're talking about. I don't care, John Doe. I won't be able to see exhibits. So it doesn't bother me. They'll show exhibits. They're just not going to show like crime scene photos, etc. But hey, guys, we're having one of those lulls. So if you're out there and you have the ability to help support my channel relies on the generosity of the people watching. As you can see right here, my channel is giving away $239,011. That comes out of the ad revenue, the super chats, all the revenue streams that come in. That's since January of 2020. So we did 22,000 in 2020, 42,000 in 2021, 62,250 in 2022, 57,000 in 2023, then 49,000 last year, and we're at 10,000 so far this year. And we have a scholarship fund that relies on you guys to help fund. 6,000 last year. We did 6,000 earlier this year. Now we're building up for the next round of scholarship for people in criminal justice, students. And then we also have a DNA fund that we've put well over $100,000 in over the years to identify Jane and John Does. We've given Texas EquiSearch, NCMEC, and RAIN all over 20,000 each. So that's 60 something, maybe 70,000. And there you go. So if you have the ability to help support my channel, that allows us to do all that great stuff at the end of the month as well, that would be awesome. All right, but just make it so that my words don't fall on deaf ears. That would be great. Thanks, Allie Cake. Appreciate it. All right, I've heard they have room for the family's media. I mean, I don't think it's worth going to a trial and not being able to stream it for all the freaks just so I can see a few of the crime scene photos. That doesn't make sense to me. Does it to you? I mean, it's crazy. Oh, you should have seen this one picture. Well, yeah, we were watching over here. You can just get somebody on, you know, maybe one of the family members can describe it. You know, you'll probably see it on, you know, hell, maybe I can get one of the family members to come on. Let's see. Enjoying the dog show. Those babies were playing hide and seek. Yeah. Well, she might get in the right. I'm not gonna go there. I mean, even if I could go there and get in easily, I wouldn't do it. If it's being streamed, there's absolutely no reason to go there. Now, I might go on the weekend to Moscow, Idaho, things like that, to, you know, film different things they're talking about, etc. Hey, thanks, Gail. But I just went over my spiel of what we do here and absolutely had no effect on anybody. I mean, it would be great if you guys would help support the channel so I don't have to keep asking over and over and over and over and over again, and we can reach the goal and do our spin for the notebook at the end. All right. I don't want to see the bloody pictures. I mean, the thing is, I've seen so many crime scene photos. I could look at them. I think it'd be kind of weird after you've seen them in so many pictures, having fun, etc. But I don't think they're allowing anybody into the courtroom other than family members. I don't think any journalists or anything like that. I don't know. I could be wrong. I just don't think that they're allowing that. Yeah. All right. Well, that public service announcement crashed and burned. Man, that was amazing. So let's see. On here, I just want to go through this document again, because this one we did AI and we didn't really. Yeah, I tried to explain it to him. It didn't seem to work. Zozo. I don't know. People just. It's not like the old days, you know. Families of 4 victims and his family. That's a couple dozen people right there. Yeah. I don't know if media is allowed in there. They're going to stream it, though. I believe they're going to stream it on that same site. Thanks, EB Clowning. Inflammatory evidence. I just want to go through these again on here. I have my own homicide support, and it's so nice to see the. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but yeah. Yeah, we try to make a difference here. I mean, you have a YouTube channel in the true crime world, you should try to make a difference in it. You know, like literally try to do something. Huh? Even media prefers watching video streams nowadays. They can tweet better. Alright. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. Defendant moves under that IRE 403 to prevent the state from introducing testimony and evidence that is exceptionally inflammatory, arguing it's irrelevant and or unfairly prejudicial. The court finds this motion is premature. As with any potentially prejudicial evidence, the court must first consider whether it is relevant and material as to the issue of fact under IRE 401. You know what's weird about it? Isn't why don't they make the Elantra and the DNA on the knife sheath inadmissible? It's just too prejudicial. It's just too prejudicial. It makes them look too guilty. Thanks, Tarn. Let's see. This one is use of term murder. Defendant seeks to prohibit the use of the words murder, murderer, or murdered. Well, why can't you use the word murder? I guess that's what it was. Murder weapon and similar forms of the word murder as applied to defendant. Again, defendant seeks an order requiring the state to abide by the evidentiary rules, particularly the prohibition against argument outside of closing. This is unnecessary. The state acknowledges it would be improper to refer to the defendant as the murderer, other than stating that the allegations are and has no plans to do so or otherwise elicit similar testimony from its witness. Thus, the motion is denied as unnecessary. See? It's just one thing after the other. She's just throwing whatever's at the wall to see what sticks. And then we've got another one down here. Use of the word, the term psychopath or sociopath. Defendant moves to exclude any reference to the term psychopath or sociopath at trial, arguing it is unfairly prejudicial and improper opinion testimony under IRE. The state does not intend to use these terms at trial. Indeed, the terms are irrelevant given the lack of evidence defendant has been diagnosed with a personality disorder or similar mental illness. Their use would also be highly prejudicial. Thus, the state is not to use the terms or their equivalent. And so that motion was granted. Hey, look at that. Jessica Schubach gifted a membership to Stoned Jordan. And the other one is improper death penalty comments. So that one was denied. So it's the state moves to preclude defense counsel from making what it calls improper comments about the death penalty. Specifically, that the state is attempting to kill defendant, which defendant counsel has stated in past hearings. Defendant stipulates to using phrases that comport with existing language in statute and jury instruction. Again, the court is unwilling to enter an order requiring defense counsel to act professionally and comply with existing rules. As defense counsel recognizes, any such statement would be argumentative and improper. So he's just denying it because it's a rule that you don't have to put into place because they're going to do it anyways. It's just a standard thing. This whole unnoticed evidence thing is weird to me. I don't really understand it. Defendant moves in limine to exclude evidence that has not already been noticed by the state, meaning it's too late for you to discover anything, is what they're saying, right? So it says already been noticed by the state, which at this point is only defendant's pre-homicide traffic stop. See, I don't know what does that even mean right there? Defendant moves to exclude evidence that has not already been noticed by the state, which at this point is only defendant's pre-homicide traffic stop. But they did notice it. They have it. Does anybody even know what that means? What does that even mean? By way of example of allegedly unnoticed evidence, defendant notes that the state intends to present evidence of defendant's graduate paper regarding how, but they did notice it. I mean, I'm not sure what that means. Is that a different use of the word notice? I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. By way of example of allegedly unnoticed evidence. Defendant graduate paper regarding how to conduct a crime scene investigation and his Amazon purchase records, both of which defendant contends are subject to IRE 4B. As an initial matter, defendant appears to misapprehend the scope. The rule provides that evidence of a crime, wrong, or other act is not admissible to prove a person's character in order to show that on a particular occasion the person acted in accordance with the character. Defendant takes the position that other acts encompass any other acts of any nature other than the crime at issue. The rule is not so broad. Its purpose is to govern the use of character evidence. It forbids the use of evidence to show a defendant's criminal propensity. I don't understand what they're talking about, noticed. Maybe the word noticed is... Maybe there's a different meaning in legal jargon for the word noticed, you know, like to notify. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense because they do notice the stuff. That's why they've got it. Defendant Amazon purchases and his graduate paper discussing proper crime scene investigation techniques do not, standing alone, bear on his character or suggest he has a propensity to commit crimes, including those charged. Further, the court is unwilling at this point to preclude the state from filing a 404B notice in the future. So let's just see what the ruling is on it. Improper expert testimony. Yeah, well, that middleman guy isn't going to be testifying anymore. And by the way, does everybody in here have a really good grasp of the IGG issue? That's this one right here. Both parties moved to exclude evidence of law enforcement investigative genetic genealogy testing in this case, but for entirely different reasons. Given the parties' agreement to not present any IGG evidence, those reasons need not to be discussed given the bottom line agreement. Yeah, but you know, it's just the thing is, IGG is irrelevant in the case. It's no different than a psychic or a little more accurate than a psychic, but a psychic or an informant, somebody like that mentions somebody's name, and then law enforcement has to go out and verify if that person is the right person. So in this case, this will really explain it simply to you. In this case, they found a single source of DNA on the button snap of the knife sheath. They loaded the DNA into CODIS, and it did not come back with anybody. And law enforcement, in this case, because of the nature of it, the FBI came in, and they first tried to use, I think it was Othram Lab with middlemen, and they weren't moving quick enough. And they were working through, Othram Lab took the DNA sequence and put it into the online search, like I think it was GEDmatch. There's also family tree DNA, etc. And so they uploaded it there, and they weren't getting any hits. I mean, they were starting to build the tree out, but they were too slow. So the FBI said, okay, we'll take over. And then the FBI, the way it works is you take the DNA sequence, and I don't know if any of you guys have been on 23andMe or Ancestry.com, where you spit into a tube and you send it off. Well, you can't do that with this type of DNA. You can't spit into a tube or something. So there's companies out there, and then when you're on 23andMe or Ancestry, you can download your raw data file, and then you can upload that raw data file to GEDmatch, Family Tree DNA, and I can't remember the other one again for some reason. You can upload it there, and then you can look for ancestors based on the, how much you have in relation to them. They number that with centimorgan count. So it'll be like, wow, you have 300 centimorgans. That might be a first cousin, something like that. And then you start building out a family tree, and it was just working too slow. And these places like GEDmatch, they don't have a lot of people, maybe 2 million people in there. So there was this one site, though, that I think it was, I don't know if it was Family Tree DNA or, I don't know why that one's not popping into my head, but now MyHeritage, that's the one. So MyHeritage is the one where the FBI, it says in their terms of use, it's not a law or anything, it's just terms of use that you can't use the database, law enforcement can't use it. But that one's different than GEDmatch, etc. They're actually one of the bigger ones where, you send your spit in, etc., but they allow you to upload your raw data to them. Ancestry and 23andMe do not allow you to upload your raw data to them. They don't let you do that. So MyHeritage, they do allow you to do that. And so the FBI uploaded, there's a company out there called Bioinformatics that can take the DNA sequence and format it so it's identical to the raw data files. So the FBI goes, oh, cool. So we'll take that and then we'll upload that to MyHeritage. And then then it has access to millions of records. And they were able to identify Kohberger as the person that the DNA on the knife sheath was. So then they got a warrant, went over there and instructed, I guess, the garbage collectors to keep that trash separate. And after testing DNA in the trash can, they were able to find a biological father to the sample that they had. So they go through it and they go, oh, look at this, there's the biological father. So that right there was enough to arrest Kohberger. And then once Kohberger was arrested, they swabbed him, and his DNA was a 1-to-1 match in the range of 1 in, like 6 octillion. It was a match to the suspect DNA that was on the knife sheath buckle or snap, right? And that right there was like, boom. That's how they did it. But it was just a tip by the FBI. It was a tip that allowed law enforcement, because they gave them the tip, they were able to track, get other information, and that was enough to eventually get the warrant. Okay, but they had to do all their investigative work after they got the name to verify that that makes sense that it's his DNA. Does that make sense? I know it's kind of people. I think the DNA topic is the most boring for so many people, but it's just good to know. So the defense thinks that it was illegal. Like, oh, they shouldn't have been able. It's the way they got his name, and it really doesn't matter, you guys. See, Michelle H is trying for a wave here tonight, you guys. We are currently only at 50% of the goal, so, or not even 50%. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel and get us moving tonight, that would be great. Huh? Yeah. I'm sure there's footprints all over the place, I would imagine, in that house. Yeah, I saw that 23andMe went bankrupt. That was kind of weird. Yeah, maybe they transferred over to Ancestry. Well, it sounds like they're still going to be there. They're just kind of a restructuring. Thanks, Alley Cake. Not sure what you're saying. Yeah, so did that make sense to you guys? I mean, really, all they did was break the terms of service for MyHeritage. That's it. There was no, it's not a breaking the law or anything. They just uploaded a raw file and got the matches, built out a tree. They continued the tree that Othram Labs had been working on, and boom, they came up with Koberger. Said, yeah, it's just a footprint. I don't know how they came up with van style shoes. Well, the thing is that there's not carpet there, so it might have been pretty easy for them to get a footprint. And you guys aren't even paying attention to what we're talking about. You're talking about the good vibe sign, etc. Jeez, man, it's just so demoralizing. Let's see, he had to be crapping his pants when he found out they were looking for a white Elantra, and after, yeah, well, the white Elantra, they were looking for, I think he was still around at the time, and when he got pulled over twice, that's what made him paranoid, and that's why he was separating his trash. I actually think if he wasn't pulled over twice, he wouldn't have been wearing gloves separating his trash out of the garbage can. I mean, and by the way, what a stupid thing, too, right? Like, it's still going to have your family members in there. The DNA is still going to lead back to you. He was just like, well, it's not my exact DNA. It's my dad. That's ridiculous. Thank you, Rainy Joe.
Ocean wave emoji, ocean wave emoji, ocean wave emoji,
Yeah,
ocean wave emoji.
And by the way, if you do
ocean wave
5 or
emoji,
more, you get
ocean wave
into
emoji.
the spin at the end as well. So there you go. Incognito mode.
Gotta love a good ocean wave emoji for a good show.
All right, now let's go back to your footprint stuff. Yeah, I mean, if he has the same style of shoe that they found on the ground there, that's a big deal, right? And if it's the same foot size, it's a big deal. But do you guys think, I mean, don't most of you think that there's more than one footprint in that house? Or don't you think that was just one that they found there that showed that it kind of helped support Dylan Mortensen's sighting of him? It seems like that's why they were bringing that up. No, that doesn't mean that. Lisa Valenzuela, come on, she doesn't know any more than anybody else on that kind of stuff, like a latent footprint. Could have just been, there's a little bit of blood and just left a little bit. It's, I mean, all we can say is the options when it's latent footprint. Could it be some blood that got on there, or there's some other sort of dirt on the ground and they stepped in it? We don't know. I bet you if you put that blue star or whatever the hell that crap is, that place probably lit up like a Christmas tree. Well, let's look it up. Now, let's see what ChatGPT says about it. Hey, in the Koberger case, they found a latent footprint outside of Dylan Mortensen's room. What is a... I mean, they could have answered it anyways, but... Let's see.
In the Koberger case, when they refer to a latent footprint found outside Dylan Mortenson's room, they're talking about a footprint that is not immediately visible to the naked eye, but becomes visible using specialized techniques or lighting.
Right.
Here's the breakdown. What is a latent
blood,
footprint?
I bet.
A latent footprint is invisible or barely visible to the unaided eye, typically made by oils, moisture, dust, or residue from the sole of a shoe or bare foot. Revealed using techniques like amido black, a protein dye that reacts with blood proteins, electrostatic dust lifters, luminol or blue star when the print is in blood, alternate light sources ALS. In the Koberger case context, a latent shoe print was discovered just outside Dylan's bedroom door. It was reportedly found with the use of a presumptive blood detection technique, like luminol or similar reagent. The pattern matched a Vans-style sole, but they couldn't definitively match it to a specific shoe, because latent prints are usually lacking in detail, especially if partial or degraded. Why it's important? It suggests someone walked that path, possibly tracking blood. It supports the theory that the suspect moved through that hallway and was very close to Dylan's room.
See, it's like
Although it wasn't as definitive as DNA or a full tread match, it corroborates other evidence like
I feel like I am ChatGPT.
the surviving roommate's visual description. Let me know if you want this explained in Crime Bro mode, or if you want a breakdown of how this plays into the defense versus prosecution strategy.
Yeah, explain it in Crime Bro mode. I never heard that one. What's that sound like?
Aight, bro, let's break this latent footprint thing down like we're analyzing the final scene of a crime doc with a Mountain Dew in one hand and the truth in the other. Latent footprint? What the hell is that? Bro, a latent footprint is basically a ninja footprint. You can't see it with your eyes just walking around like, yo, there's a bloody footprint. Nah, this thing is hiding. But guess what? Forensics got the cheat codes. They pull out their luminol, blue star, or some sci-fi ass flashlight that reveals bodily fluids, proteins, or residue left behind. Suddenly, boom, a ghost shoe print shows up like it's saying, yeah, I was here. What of it? Where was it found in the Koberger case? Right outside Dylan Mortenson's room, bro. Like the killer walked past her door, maybe after the deed was done, and left a little sneaker print in what they think might have been blood residue. And it wasn't like a crisp Nike swoosh or an Adidas 3-stripe. Nah, more like a Vans-style sole. You know, that waffle tread. Not enough detail to go, Joe, this is Brian's exact shoe from Foot Locker, but enough to be like, somebody tracked blood through here, and it wasn't Dylan. Why does it matter? It puts the killer in the hallway where Dylan said she saw the bushy eyebrow dude.
Matt.
It's like the print was co-signing her story. Yeah, bro, I was here. I walked by her door. Creepy, huh? But here's the kicker. The print's latent, meaning it wasn't obvious. It had to be coaxed out of the floor like a ghost confession. And the defense might say, bro, there's no solid ID on the shoe. That could be anyone's Vans. But come on, how many people walking through that house that night were dripping in blood? So yeah, bro, that footprint? It's like the silent witness who finally speaks when you shine the right light on him. Didn't talk much, didn't name names, but said just enough to make you go, damn, he really was right there. Want me to break down how that footprint fits into the timeline or rebuttal tactics next?
Not really. Yeah, so that's what we were saying. Blue star. I didn't remember that it was blood. That I thought it was, but I didn't say that. I said I think it was blood. But it sounds like ChatGPT remembers that was like sort of a little bit of a blood. It was created in blood, the footprint, but very faint. So probably the walk from, probably walking from Xana's room over took enough off, and there might not have been a lot on his soles of his feet anyways. But I would think that there's got to be footprints, other footprints, because for there to be blood on his foot by Dylan's room, there has to be footprints coming from wherever he came from to then leave one there. I would think. All right, we only got 5 new members tonight, and we're still right around 50% of the goal. Still want a bobblehead gray. Bobblehead? I am ChatGPT. I mean, it's funny. I was saying. I mean, I say a lot of this. Like I think like it does. Sometimes. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but And I kicked its ass on one of the shows. So yeah, bro. Let's see. Want to break down how the footprint fits in? Okay. Yeah, we already know all that. I don't need to. So the footprint was probably left there at about 417. Between 417 and 418, I would think. And we don't have 835 people watching. We got another one of those crazy. We got probably 400, but not 878. Man, what do I got to do? Jump, do a jig? I can't even dance a jig. I'm just wondering what's going on. It's like just crazy. Thank you, Winslow GPS.
Why were you the only Yit sleuth on that CW documentary that thought Richard Allen is guilty?
Because I was the only one that was right. Isn't that weird? The rest of them are nut jobs. Isn't that weird? It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. I always thought that was weird too. I felt proud of myself. I go, wow, all of these nut jobs who just go onto these shows, they still start trying to sell conspiracies. I mean, unbelievable. Why do you think I was Winslow GSP? Why do you think? I think it's because when I work through these cases, I use logic, the facts that are given, and common sense. And when you do that, you're likely to be pretty accurate. When you don't do that, you turn into a raging lunatic in a lot to the eyes of people who also use common sense. Yeah, critical thinking, right. So what do you think, Winslow GSP? Why do you think I was the only one? And didn't I turn out to be right and they weren't? Isn't that weird? So what do you think about that? He was convicted. Richard Allen is the killer. Yeah, it's kind of sad that that's a lost art. I think they go against common sense for the clicks, but the cops kept a lot secret. Well, I mean, I don't know. I actually feel like once the probable cause came out, there wasn't a lot. The only stuff that was different than we already knew was the confessions that he made. You know, and even when presented with the confessions, the Richard Allen whack jobs, you know, in that case, if you didn't follow the Delphi case, it has the same community of absolute idiots who supported Richard Allen. They still do. Oh, Richard Allen. They're supporting a guy that killed two 13-year-old, a 13 and a 14-year-old kid. You know, so it's and then we got Brian Kohberger, who killed 4 adults. But young adults in college, they didn't even get their lives really started. And he killed them, and he got these nut jobs out there trying to pretend that he's not the guy. Now you go, Gray, he's innocent until proven guilty, you bastard. Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I mean, he gets to go to trial, and you might think that he is, you know, at this point he's not guilty because he hasn't gone to trial yet. But I believe 100% that Brian Kohberger is the killer. I'm not confused or I have any sort of lingering doubt of any kind at all. If I went to trial, yes, I'd have to listen to it and everything like that. And if something came up that changed my mind, I would change my mind. And as a matter of fact, if tomorrow some just miraculous information came out that absolutely, without a doubt, was, you know, made it so that he could not have been the killer, I would have to accept it. And I would. That's the weird part. I would do it. Okay? But that doesn't exist. And there isn't even anything remotely close to pointing away from Brian Kohberger being the killer. There's nothing, in fact, that points away. That's why they got the the discredited Cy Ray and other cases. They got him in there because he's one of those hired sort of, you know, cell phone quote experts that can just kind of make things work, you know. kind of come up with this little theory. Yeah, she said 3 feet. Yeah, you came from Xana's room, right? Here, let me show it to you again. Let me show it to you again. All right. Hey, watch Zozo. Here we go. See right here? This is Xana's room. I'm in Xana's room right here. Okay, check it out. Check it out. I'm in Xana's room. And now I'm walking down the hallway. And, alright, let me get rid of this. Shit. Let me start over again. I'm in Xana's room. Coming out the door. There's a living room right there. And then watch. Turn. And then this is Koberger's eyes right here. So right there, that's where Dylan would be, like looking through her cracked door. And then right now, Koberger takes a right and leaves out the kitchen. And that's just right there. You see that? That's the window in the kitchen. The sliding glass door is just out there right there. That makes sense? Zozo, did you see that? I just want to make sure you see it because I can rewind it again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So after Xana, so that would probably be, remember the thud sound? And she said something like, no, she was whimpering. There was a thud sound. And then she said, then Dylan said she opened her door for the 3rd time and then saw him with the balaclava, the eyebrows, and, you know, then the evidence shows he went out the sliding glass door at that point, to the right. So, and I'll go all the way down. So this is Dylan's room on the right here. That's where the camera just was looking back this direction. Dylan's right inside this room here to the right. And then, so the killer, after coming out of the living room, would have gone just like this. And then out the sliding glass door. Right? So, right there, that's Dylan's room. And then if you turn right, you'd see that sliding glass door just like that. Yeah, and these are pretty good things that I can get rid of that. I can get rid of this roof right here. And so look at that. This might be helpful, right? So that is Xana's room, and then he comes out like this. And then Dylan is right down there. You see her leg right there. And then watch. So after he comes up the stairs, and that's into Kaylee's room, then back out, then Madison's room. This is just a walkthrough. I'm just showing you. There's no, I don't have a specific order. And then he goes down the stairs, and then because he's going down the stairs, you can't see him through the floor, but you'll be able to see him right down here. So that's the living room right there. And you'll see him walk by in just a second. There he goes. And now he's coming out the sliding glass door there. I don't think that's really that many people watching. I think that's a fake number, to be honest with you. We keep getting these fake numbers that show up here. There isn't really 2,000 people watching. There's maybe 400 and something. But we need to get to the goal, you guys, to be able to do the spin at the end of the show. And we're not there. We're not even close. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. Not sure what makes tonight different than other nights. But for some reason, the group of people watching aren't willing to help support this channel. Who's to say that Brian Koberger didn't try Dylan Mortenson's doorknob? I mean, I don't know. Who cares? Jesus. What does that even mean? It's just, how do we know that he didn't dance a jig when he went through that house? You know, when he came in, how do we know he didn't walk backwards and fool everybody? How do we know that he didn't? I mean, I don't know. It's fake. There's not one. Yeah, there definitely isn't anywhere near that number of people watching. Koberger is completely guilty. Yeah. So in the chat right now, for you pro-burgers that might be watching, can you think of anything at all that's even remotely exculpatory for Brian Koberger? See, when you listen to the pro-burgers, they make it sound like it's just, like, wow, you guys are crazy, you people that think he's guilty. There's all these things. There isn't anything. Can you just name one thing? Let's argue that. Give me one thing, you guys. One thing by the pro. And don't saying, well, Brent Kopacka. No. I'm talking about what is exculpatory, what proves, what piece of information is something that actually makes it so that he might not be the person. Just one thing. Yeah, just one thing by anybody. You don't need to be a detective to see he did it beyond reasonable doubt. I know. Mine says 2049, but there isn't. Okay? It's going to be a fake. It's going to do the little Bart Simpson haircut like this. It's not real. I always have to let YouTube know that somebody's out there. They're probably doing something. I don't know. YouTube says that it's legit, though. I go, no, it's not. It's not legit. Because the totals don't even make sense. I don't know. I don't know if I think it's. I don't know how it's. I can't give you a reason why. YouTube doesn't even know why. I just let them know, and they go, "Yeah, we can't find anything." But it makes a specific pattern. All right, maybe I'll set up a goal and see if you guys can do it. All right, I don't know. It's just bizarre. Let's see. All right, here we go. So that's it right there. That'll get us to the goal, the lowest end of it. So there's the mission at the top of the screen there, you guys. Is it when YouTube posts? No, it's not. I can just tell you it's not legit. I've had it. I've shown it on my screen before. It'll go like this. It'll go up, and then it'll be like this, kind of going up slowly, and then it goes way up in the air. Then it does these little things like that, and then it drops right back down to the actual number. Okay, I've seen it 100 times. So, hey, there's Rainy Joe. Gifted a membership to John Wolf. I remember you. All right, let me get back to this thing. Conditions as aggravator. Alternative perpetrator evidence. Oh, yeah, I want to know. Let's see what it says on this one. The state seeks an order prohibiting defendant from offering alternative perpetrator evidence without first making a showing that such evidence is relevant and admissible, just like in the Delphi case. Is there a nexus? These rules govern the standard admissibility for alternative perpetrator evidence. Mere inference that another person could have committed the crime will most likely not be relevant. So it says mere inferences. Right, like, oh, Brent Kopacka could have done it. Well, is there any evidence? No, but... And if relevant, will still be subject to the limitation provisions. Defendant acknowledges his burden under Meister, but argues state's motion is premature. According to defendant, this case is full of alternative perpetrators. Jeez. And he intends to produce offers of proof as to alternative perpetrators. They're going to have a hearing, I bet, and they'll all be denied. While the defendant is correct that such offers of proof can be made at trial, this case is not well suited to waiting until the time of trial to do so, particularly if the defendant intends to submit multiple offers of proof. Huh, that's interesting. Hey, there's one, M10. Thank you.
I'll get you back if you want me to.
While defendant is correct that such offers of proof can be made at trial, this case is not well suited to waiting until the time of trial to do so, particularly if defendant intends to submit multiple offers of proof. Laying foundation for the admission of evidence will likely take significant amount of time. After all, defendant cannot merely show another person could have committed the crime. Rather, there must be evidence. That's the nexus. Evidence linking the third person to the actual perpetration of the crime. That's not going to happen. Okay? They have nothing. And unless they do something with the DNA and claim that that other DNA that's on the handrail or whatever, and then go, oh, see, look, but then you'd have to be able to prove that, like, you might look him up and go, well, he was in Hawaii, so that must have been from a party. It's like that kind of stuff. Not just that he could have done it. What other evidence is there? To avoid undue delay at trial, defendant must present the offer of proof no later than May 14th, 2025, so the matter can be addressed at a pretrial conference. Boom. I mean, that's exactly like the 2-day hearing they had in the Delphi case. Exactly the same thing. And in that case, the judge found there was no connection, no nexus of the crime of any of the people that they tried to claim, and they were not allowed. This case is worse than that one for that information. There is nothing. I mean, Ann Taylor's going to have to rely on these nutjob YouTubers' theories to come up with something, and it's not going to fly because there's nothing to it. Okay? And that's the truth. All right, so M10 did the first one up there, you guys. We got to get the other 9 up there to be able to get to the spin at the end of the show, because we are way short tonight. Right. I was wondering if he'd take a plea too. He's sort of, again, like Danny Rolling, right? Danny Rolling pled guilty. Unfortunately, I mean, he didn't cut a deal. He just pled guilty. And so then they had a penalty phase of the trial, and then he got the death penalty in that case. This case, the family will not accept a plea deal in this case.
Appreciate your analysis.
Hey, thanks, Motivational Living. Enjoy a coffee or tea, appreciate it out. Well, thank you. Yeah, and by the way, like, I don't have a formal degree or anything like that, or any kind of even any degree at all in this type of, this to the true crime world, I guess. But so if you're wondering where the hell I came from, was, let's see, everybody's watched the shows on TV, like, I love Bill Curtis, those kind of things, and, just different shows. Everybody watched all that shit. But it wasn't until, and then I went to the Art Institute in 2004 in Portland, and I'd already learned how to do animation and stuff, so I learned animation and media arts. And then I watched other trials, and they were interesting. But it wasn't until, like, I think it was the Jodi Arias trial where I went, man, I could actually build that entire set in a 3D model. So I made a perfect model of the entire upstairs bedroom, bathroom, etc. Even had the bloody tiles. I mean, they gave out so much information in that case that I was able to do it. And then because of that case, I got hired by a prosecutor in Brooklyn to make a like an elevator incident where a lady had her leg. Basically, it turned out to be an assault charge against the elevator repair person because he didn't put any cones out or anything, and he removed the mechanism that the elevators cannot move with the doors open. So this lady steps onto it and it starts moving, and as the door's shutting, it's going up, and then it creates kind of a guillotine effect on her leg, and it got dragged all the way up to the 8th floor through that little gap between the elevator and the door. And I made an animation of it, the whole thing, her stepping onto it, going up, because the video surveillance was 1 frame a second, and it just wasn't clear. And I made it really clear, and I went there for the trial, and I didn't have to testify because when the judge had the attorneys look at it, and both of them agreed that that's accurate, and so they didn't need me to testify. So that's how good my animations are, okay? And then they hired me for another thing. That one never made it to trial, but it was some roof incident. And so after that, I started really kind of doing, I did the McStay case, looking around, following stuff all the time. And just ever since then, I think in about 2017, right when the Delphi case happened, those are my first real, like, I'm a true crime YouTuber. Even though I made all these amazing videos during the Jodi Arias, it was like 2017. And I started doing live stream. Then there was a Kanika Jenkins case. I made animations in that one. And then we had Molly Tibbetts, and then it just keeps going on and on and on. And then I've been doing live streams for 8 years, okay, in true crime. Hey, look at that. Eileen Blundell just gifted, or not gifted, became a channel member. Very cool, very cool. But I need your guys' support on the channel tonight, you guys. It should be pretty simple with the number of people watching to be able to reach the goal, okay? And if you send 5 or more in, your name gets put up for 2 more, like a wedge on the pie for the spin at the end. It's like a big wheel that goes around. And you get to win the notebook. And so I've been doing that for, I've covered, and then for years and years and years, like during the pandemic, we covered so many cold cases and, current cases that were going on, and just really sort of developed, like I've literally covered over, like, I'd say 1,500 to 2,000 different cases, and just have a really good feel for what's going on in them. And like I said before, there's many cases out there that even my chat and everybody didn't agree, and just using the same way that I think about it was right, in those. And there's cases out there that most of the people in my chat were on the same page, but then the rest of the community is not. Like, for example, the I don't know why I always forget her name. I'm not sure why. It's the one with the car that goes into the water. Like, everybody in that case thought that, there's some nefarious thing at the party. And we thought, well, shit, she probably went in the water somewhere. And that's exactly what happened. And we proved it using the fire camera. Hey, thanks, Kaylee D. So there you go. You get 2 pie wedges there. No, not Karen Reed. She didn't go into the water. Jesus, just Karen Reed, Karen Reed, Karen Reed. Kylie Rodney, there you go. Same initials, you almost got that right, Dandelion. Yeah, Kylie Rodney. Susan Smith, jeez. Yeah, the Kylie Rodney one, that was probably one of the best videos I've ever made. That one was crazy. So somebody out there online found out that there was so the vehicle was found in the water eventually, and then these people found this fire camera way up in the mountains that was filming the lake, and they went out and downloaded all the video during the time frame, and it was nighttime, and it had all these lights moving around doing different things. And as soon as I saw that, I went, man, these people don't know what the hell they're doing with this. So I had to kind of look up at the top and see what URL they had. Then I go out to the website, I find the footage, and then I recorded that time frame, and then I recorded the same exact camera during the daytime. And then I took the daylight video and put it below the nighttime video, and then changed the opacity on the nighttime video so that you could see the structure of the land, because you couldn't see it at night. And then you see this light go right off the end of a point, and the car goes into the water, and it starts dimming and dimming and dimming and dimming, and it disappears. And that's exactly the time her phone died. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. I never made it to the news or anything. That should have been first thing in the media. That's just crazy. I mean, why wouldn't that be on Court TV or something like that? That was crazy. Hey, thanks, RMB. And so I guess what my sort of is I think differently than most people do, and I creatively find a way to figure something out often. Okay, you know, people don't like that I try to reach the goals on my channel every single night. You know, like, oh God, you know, that great guy, he's always trying to, you know, I'm just trying to, you know, bring in the income for my channel so that I can keep doing this, and at the same time be able to do all the stuff that we've done for the last 5 years. We've given $238,000 away and made a huge difference in people's lives. So I think that's something to, you know, aspire to do. Thank you, Curly Lock Diva. All right, currently we've got 7 channel members, and we're at probably, if we get the rest of those, well, I think we only need 7 more of my goal target up there, and we should be able to do it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like my channel and the way we cover cases and the way we figure stuff out is the best there is on YouTube. The rest of them, they give you these little stories and they want you to get excited about different things, and you know, maybe I'm not as entertaining, I guess, but I do make people laugh from time to time, I can tell you that. Maybe tonight I'm not in my funny mode, I guess. But, I guess we could have just played the bro mode of the eyebrows and we could have all started laughing again. I mean, the thing is, I think that's why I've been on Court TV and things like that, because I'm able to figure stuff out. Like, for example, I just did in the Delphi case, they have Richard Allen apparently was driving a black Ford Focus 2016 with a hatchback. So they released 3 still frames from the video showing a car that looks remarkably like that. So I went out and purchased a 3D model of a 2016 black Ford Focus hatchback, and then I put it into a 3D environment where I took the map of the ground and exactly where the building was with the camera on it, put a camera right where the camera would be, and then put the Ford Focus on the road right where it's seen in the footage. I put the sunlight and everything exactly the way it is, because you can actually put the date, time zone, GPS coordinates, and the sun light hits at the same angle. Then I rendered out the 3 different frames in exactly the same location. Then I overlaid I rendered the scene, and then I took that little car and put it in the surveillance still frames, and it matches perfectly. Like, literally exactly, it is the car. All right, so I don't know if there's other people that do stuff like that, and the answer is no, because they don't. And I use 3D 360 degree camera footage in cases, and you know, when I can get there. Yeah, the bro mode thing was funny. for sure. Nope, there it goes. So this part was to avoid undue delay at trial, defendant must present offers of proof no later than May 4th. The court will reserve ruling on the motion. See, there you go. They're going to rule. So this is just like that 2-day hearing they had in the Delphi, or maybe it was 3-day hearing in the Delphi case. And unless there's a absolute nexus where, whoa, this person could have done it, the judge is going to deny it, and it will not be allowed at trial rightfully. You can't just throw out names because you just want it's ludicrous. Defendant moves in limine to exclude any misleading comments about the meaning of a likelihood ratio for DNA purposes. Specifically, defendant seeks to avoid attempts to define likelihood ratio through a comparison to the world population. I think that's totally okay to do. I think, for example, if you said, well, it's 1 in 6 octillion, you would say, you could go into this thing where you'd said, I don't even know, that's such a high number that's almost impossible to, but you could say there's 8 billion people on the planet Earth, and you would have to have, like 1,000 billion times another 1,000 billion times another 1,000 billion times another 1,000 billion times another 1,000 billion planet Earths to maybe have one person. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To avoid undue delay at trial, defendant must present the offer of proof no later than May 14th. Direct or circumstantial linking the third person. Oh, I was down here. Sorry. The state agrees that this type of comparison is inappropriate. Man, it isn't. They do it all the time. The court grants defendant's motion insofar as it applies to the question asked by the prosecutor at the grand jury proceedings, which both sides agree was not proper. So here, let me show you guys on the screen here. No, that's not it. Hold on. Right. So this is the viewer thing that I was telling you about. Does that look natural to you at all? So right there, that's natural. Right there. And then eventually this is going to get down to right there. Okay. It's just not, and it might even go up again here in a minute. That's how it does it. It's just not, it's just totally unnatural. It's not real. But we're still only about 80%, you guys. Let's see if we can do it. Inconclusive data. Defendant moves to limit expert testimony about the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab statistical analysis of a swab taken from the fingernail. That whole thing, just throw that out, man. That fingernail crap. Inconclusive range as to whether defendant. I think that the defense already said we don't want it. Well, it says it's denied for moot point, right? Because it said defendant argues this is misleading language in that it allows for an inference that defendant might be included, which he asserts is inaccurate. The state indicates it will not offer the results, right, we already heard that, as inculpatory evidence, which defendant agrees renders his motion moot. However, if the state changes course with regard to the evidence, it must first raise the matter with the court outside the presence of the jury, so the anticipated testimony regarding the meaning of inconclusive can be discussed. At this time, however, the motion is denied because it's moot. So at some point they might be able to change it. All right, so this is the part that is really pretty crazy in here. This is the excluding Amazon click activity evidence at trial. Defendant moves to exclude any evidence of defendant's Amazon purchase history or click activity on grounds that it is out of context, incomplete, and unfairly prejudicial. This evidence will be presented by the state through Shane Cox and Michael Douglas, the Michael Douglas, who will testify simply to what the documentary evidence state, all of which was provided to the defendant in discovery. The evidence is highly relevant. A K-bar knife sheath was found lying next to the body of one of the deceased victims, all of whom were stabbed to death. Defendant's DNA was found on the knife sheath. Records from Amazon account registered to defendant's name and email show that a purchase of a K-bar knife and sheath was made from the account approximately 8 months prior to the homicides. Click activity on the same account shows the customer also viewed pages associated with K-bar style knives at the time and in the week following the purchase. Let me start over on that last part. He viewed pages associated with K-bar style knives at the time and in the week following the purchase, viewed pages associated with the shipping progress. Oh, Jesus. When's it going to get here? When's it going to get here? Of the knife and sheath. The product was shipped to Brian Koberger. So if his dad bought it, why would he have it shipped to Brian Koberger? At his family address in probably Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. After the homicides, activity from the same account, so after the murders, right? I mean, we're talking 8 months later, after the homicides, the same account showed the user navigated pages related to the deletion of account activity, and a week later viewed pages associated with a K-bar knife and sheath. The evidence establishes a significant connection between defendant and K-bar knife and sheath. So he purchased it, he had it shipped to himself, and then after the murders, so that actually helps the argument that he left the knife sheath there accidentally. Because now he's like, oh shit. Or I guess, I don't know. I mean, it seems like he would have, I mean, either way, he thought he needed to hide the fact. So I don't know. It just seems like it a little bit weighted towards accidentally leaving it there. So after the homicides, he goes, oh wow. And then he wanted to delete the fact that he bought it. And then he started looking, apparently, to purchase another one. I mean, I think that's just crazy. Hey, thanks, Southerner. All right, you guys. How about we need, if we get 8 more channel membership gifting, then I'll gift 5 and we'll do the spin. But we need 8 channel member giftings from you guys. And each one of those giftings will get put on the spin over here too. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Koberger's very smart, man. I think he's, especially for a guy that was in his little criminal justice, he thought he had it all dialed in, but it didn't work. You know, he thought he'd turn his phone off when he got near Blaine. In addition, there is no basis under IRE 403 to exclude the evidence, particularly given how probative it is. Defendant argues it is misleading and prejudicial because it paints an incomplete picture of the account activity. Oh, whoa, look at that M10. Now we just need 3 more. Who's going to do it? Thanks, M10. I'll get those 5 in there. Let's see. What do you guys think his biggest mistake is, I mean, I think, well, first, there's two of them. He drove his White launcher around, and that he didn't clean that knife sheath good enough. So we got one, we got Marty, Wicked Curves, Big Bird 420, Real Plant Diaries, and Maribel 9. Welcome. Now, if we get 3 more, I'll donate 5 myself. Does that work? I don't even know if that works mathematically, but I'll do it anyways. Yeah, Sees Through became a member, or was gifted one by Curly Lock Diva. And there's MKM. Let me put you guys in there. Curly Lock Diva. And MKM. And Wicked Curves again. Thank you. Guess that was a little short. Hey, thanks, Jax D. Very cool. Can you give yourself one? Me give me? I don't know what that means. What does that mean, Bernice Brad? I don't know. Well, why don't you just get your own, I guess? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Why don't you just get your own? If you want to gift one to yourself, why wouldn't you just get it? Yeah. Alright, so hold on a second. Alright. And there we go. So if any of you else want to gift memberships out there, we'll put it up on the spin board as well for the end. But I just gifted to Steve Burrows some bitch. Some bitch. Lynn Hamilton, Kaz, Rena Rue. Yeah. Yeah, well, the DNA, though, is... See, the DNA on the knife sheath, even if his White Elantra wasn't moving around, would have led to him. But the combination of the White Elantra, that's why I do so many videos on the White Elantra, because it's almost as important as the DNA, and it's tangible, something we can work with and look at, where the DNA is just, okay, yeah, it matched, so. Yeah, and like, he should have tried to use a different vehicle and left his phone at home. But he didn't leave his phone at home because I think he needed it to navigate through those crazy back roads south of Blaine over there. It's really wild, really kind of a cool area, but yeah, it's just, there's no houses or anything, and it just kind of goes through. Then all of a sudden there might be one home of a farm somewhere. And, well, he was caught on a lot of them, but apparently there wasn't as many cameras as you'd think. Alright, so what's it say? In addition, there is no basis to exclude the evidence, particularly given how probative it is. Defendant argues it is misleading and prejudicial because it paints an incomplete picture of the account activity. To this end, defendant provides the declaration of his expert, David Howell, the founder of firm specializing in inter alia digital forensics and digital marketplace analysis. According to Mr. Howell, far more information must be reviewed in order to attribute specific activity to a specific person. Yeah, he's going to say, well, you can't tell who did. Well, it was shipped to Brian Koberger. Why would the family do it? Well, they bought it for him as a gift. Okay, great. So you're saying Koberger got the gift. Thank you. He got the gift of a K-bar knife sheath. The exact same make and model as the sheath that was found on the bed of Madison Mogen. And by the way, his DNA was found on that knife sheath. So isn't it a logic? Here's the thing. It's not reasonable to believe that that knife sheath isn't the one that he purchased on Amazon because it had his DNA on it. Now, I guess it's possible he bought two, I mean, but it's his DNA, and he's somebody who buys K-bar knife sheaths, or knives, all right? How many of you have bought a K-bar knife? Like, I bet you in this chat here, it says 553, probably isn't really that many. I think there's 400 people watching. I bet you less than 10 people in this entire chat would have ever bought a K-bar knife, USMC, with the Eagle Globe. I wouldn't even say it's that. I bet it's 2. Okay? I mean, it's it might even be 0, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, the whole sharpener thing to me is sort of a sensationalistic element. And it's not really that weird if you bought a knife sheath that you would buy a sharpener. I guess it, I mean, you can make the same argument of who bought it as the knife sheath, or the knife. Now you got the individual, the Papa Rogers guy, who could have used really just sound logic when when law enforcement, they did come out prior and say, oh, we think he used a fixed blade knife. And then he said, well, the only way they would have known that is if the sheath was left there. I mean, that's a pretty, accurate prediction. I mean, but it's also something you could just deduce. I didn't do it. But you could see somebody doing that where they said it's a fixed blade knife, and then you might say, well, how would they know that? I remember even talking about that. I mean, it seems like the knife wounds would be, you could make that from any type of knife. How would you know it was a fixed blade? Because a fixed blade knife and a folding knife have the same shape often. One just folds and the other one's fixed. And then, so the only way that you know that it was a fixed blade knife would be if the sheath was left there, because that's how you hold them, where the ones that fold up, you can just put in your pocket. Mm-hmm. In addition, there's no basis under, let's go down to Mr. Howell, far from more information must be reviewed. Yeah, so he needs to try to figure out how he can make it seem like it's not Koberger himself. Defendant is free to challenge this evidence through cross-examination and establish through Mr. Howell why more information is needed to reach the conclusion that defendant made the purchases or clicks. However, it is not a basis for exclusion. There is nothing inherently unfairly prejudicial or misleading about the evidence itself. It will be up to the jury to consider all the evidence and decide whether the defendant was the clicker. Thus, the motion is denied. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, the prosecution should be able to bring it up, and then it's up to their client, and it'll just be really stupid, childish arguments back of how it's not him, even though it was sent to him. You know, we don't have a camera on the computer when it was ordered, so how do we know it was him? Well, because a knife sheath was left at a crime scene with his DNA on it. See, that'll be the great, the order of it. They're already going to know about the DNA on the knife sheath. And then later they're going to bring up at trial that he purchased it. And then they're going to ask maybe a weapons expert and say, so the knife that Brian Koberger ordered in March of 2022, is that the same make and model as the sheath that was found at the crime scene? And they're going to say yes. And then after that, it's like, oh, the jury is going to completely ignore any sort of rebuttal witness that the defense has. Mr. Howell here. Yeah. If you read the judge order, he directly states the prosecution has evidence that on the date of that traffic stop he was in Moscow planning. I don't think it says that they have evidence that he was planning the attack. The prosecution has evidence that on the date of the traffic stop he was in Moscow planning. They don't know that. I mean, he's there. I think that's what he was doing, but they don't have evidence that he was planning anything other than that he was there. I don't know what you're saying up there. Whoever it was, they haven't produced it. What are you talking about? AT&T timing advance. So this is the 7-minute situation. Yeah, I mean, this one was just, they didn't even know who the suspect was for a month, so they missed out on getting the 7 days worth of, within 7 days to order it, right? So they didn't get it. Records in reliance. Not sure what that is. The state moves in limine to permit the addition of approximately 60 exhibits. The state presents that it will obtain and submit certifications for foregoing exhibit to. Shit, I don't care. Yeah, this one right here, the admissibility of demonstrative evidence. I thought that was the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life. It's just a 3D model. Now, we did talk about, when you're making 3D models, why not make it a really, really accurate scale model, when you're making it? There's no reason you can't do that. But they're able to use the same model, etc. What do you mean the knife? What does that mean? Oh, you mean the thing up above where you said whoever it was, they haven't produced it. Who was? I'm not sure what you mean. Whoever you ordered it? Yeah. Well, if it was his dad, wouldn't he just say, here it is? Maybe that's why he wanted to order another one, to have it sitting around. But he's so stupid that he didn't realize that the other order would show up. And maybe he wanted to delete the previous order so that he has a K-bar knife, and that's the one he got from that order. So he wanted to delete the first one. So that's why he was reordering another one. To make it look like, oh no, it's right here. See, this is the one I bought. But then it would be stupid because that order he didn't remove, and they know he bought it after the murders. So then it would be, oh yeah, no, I have one of these. I just bought it later. Yeah. Yeah, everybody, I bought a K-bar knife. I just bought it after the homicide. See, look. I'm not going to. You're incorrect. Okay. We've already gone through it. We've read all the documents. Right. You're incorrect. Let's see. And change plates. Right. That's just what the prosecution believes, that he was on those trips, on his late night trips, he was there planning his attacks. That's what he was doing. It just doesn't say that. It doesn't say that they have this evidence in there. If you can find me the quote and send it to me, I'll look at it. But we've gone through these same documents. I've never heard anything like that. I think people just hear what they want to hear sometimes. When he ordered it, he was just fantasizing, but said screw it and used it. No, I think he'd been planning it that whole time, actually. Hey, thanks, Rainy Joe. I think when he bought that, he was already going to be... I think he might have already been looking at those girls. Because I think he was going to be moving to Washington. He bought it in March, too. It's like, that's... he moved there 3 months later, so he already had this thing ready to go. Thank you, Rainy Joe. Mark's over there trying to give people advice. Hey, just buy things like that with cash at a store. Ones that don't have surveillance cameras. Wear sunglasses and a baseball cap. And by the way, where do you think there's 16 minutes of missing time that I identified. So if you hear anybody else out there talk about missing time after the homicides, they got it from this channel. Okay, they didn't come up with it on their own or think about it. I actually drove it and I figured out, oh my God, that doesn't even make sense. So when he leaves the crime scene, he drove around like this. They just don't give credit to where they got it from. Came down like this, and then on the 95, and Blaine is right in this area. And that's when his phone got here. It was 4:48. So he left at a high rate of speed at 4:20, and that's 28 minutes later. However, Blaine's only 6 miles away, and driving it, I got there at which would be equivalent to about 4:32. All right? And 4:48 is when his phone pinged near Blaine. Now, it could have been pinging up here or here. Then it's like 12 or 18 minutes. There's missing time. No doubt about it. So after he came down here, where did he go? Did he drive down 95 for a little bit and then cut off? Did he come over here, take a right, go down this direction? Do something over here, which is kind of, like this butte area. I remember early, sorry, I got that thing covering the screen again. So later in the evening, I'm not sure if you guys know all the different information, but hey, thank you, Jimmy Sotak.
Great work.
Oh, thank you. So when the vehicle went down here about noon, and I guess it's about 12:40 something, it uses the same cellular. This is the same suspect vehicle 1. It comes in here, uses the cellular resources as Kate's Cup of Joe, and it's seen on camera at the same exact time. So now you have a white Elantra and Koberger's phone utilizing resources as Kate's Cup of Joe. And then apparently it tried to go over to Costco over here and got rejected. And then after Costco, he drives down here to Albertsons. And now we have the white Elantra parking and Koberger himself going into Albertsons seen on camera. So now we have the phone, Koberger, and the vehicle all at the same time. You see how important that is? And then after that, we don't know where he goes. And then at 5:32 and 5:36 in the evening, his phone pings right over here by Johnson, Washington, which they said was consistent with the area he went after. So I'm wondering if law enforcement has sort of fixed, this route right here might be different now. Maybe they were able to do more research and the vehicle kind of heads over here for a little bit. or I don't. It's hard to say, but maybe it came out, drove down like this, and went in there and buried the item, and then somehow came back down here, and then his phone pings right there, which is right next to Blaine, anyways, and then he, continues on down and around. I don't know, but it's just there's 16 minutes of missing time. He could have put that knife anywhere, and maybe he did what Danny Rolling did. And by the way, that not trying to tell people who said it up above, Mark Solom up there, Solom. I've said this before. Like a killer, if you really wanted to hide a weapon, you would go to a wooded area, dig a cylindrical hole that's like 3 feet deep, not very big, maybe something like that. You put the weapons in there, you fill it back up with the dirt, then you put the pine needles back over it, and that'll never be found ever, okay? It's these idiots that throw it into the bushes over here, they do this and that. And Danny Rolling did that. He put the knife in a hole, wrapped up, and he put it in the hole. So that's, if he's doing the Danny Rolling thing, that might be what he did. Yeah, there was a guy that I was communicating with. He was going to go out there with LiDAR and stuff, but man, that just seems like a needle in a haystack, that you're going to fly around all over the place and hope to find a little disturbance from in the ground of a knife, and it just seemed like, I hope he went out and tried it, but man, that just seems really not very good odds. Mm-hmm. And by the way, you ever watch those I've said this before, but the magnet fishing shows where the people have magnets and they throw in the water by a bridge and they pull out a gun. And I'm always stunned how uninterested the cops are when they call them. Because I think every single gun that's found under a bridge was used in a crime. Okay? Who just drives around, I don't want this gun anymore. You throw it in there. I just think it's incredible how uninterested these people are. Maybe there's somebody, they're depressed and they don't want to do something, they throw it in there, but that's so much less likely than somebody throwing it in there because they committed a crime and don't want it to be found. My sons do magnet fishing. It's fun. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I always thought that would be fun, really fun to try, to do magnet fishing. Yeah, and by the way, this case right here, you guys, if somehow there's the same idiots that are the pro-burgers out there that are on this jury and will find him not guilty somehow and convince everybody else he's not guilty, blah, 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 they will never look into this case again. Because Brian Kohberger is the killer in this case, just like Richard Allen was in the Delphi case. They'll never look into that again, and they will never look into this again. It'll be a case that just never got justice, and it'll never, ever, ever have anybody held accountable for it. And that's the sad part about these nut job, pro-burger wackos, out there trying to convince people. Because there's people, I've talked to them, these pro-burger wackos. You talk to them, and you give them absolutely a factual laydown of information, and when it's all done, it just doesn't affect them at all. It doesn't change their minds. Mm-hmm. Right, but that's it though. We've said that 100 times. They just want you to think that he went there on multiple times to scout out the information. It doesn't mean they have information. Further evidence places defendant in Moscow at night on one of the dates of interest, alleged by the state to be relevant to planning. We've already said all this 100 times. Okay, That doesn't say that they have information that he was planning something inside the car when he was pulled over. That doesn't mean that at all. See, that's what I mean. How did you get to that from reading that? And that's the thing that I don't do that. I don't read it. I don't get like some wild meaning to something when I'm reading it. I just read what I read, and that's what it is. All it's saying is, when the vehicle drove into the area all those other times, he likely was scouting around to try to figure out how to, the planning part of it. That's probably what he was doing. That's why they want to do that. And they have him on video on one of the times that he was likely there doing it. That's what they allege. That's exactly what you just posted. But thank you for posting it, because I don't think I could have just went out and found that immediately. Is it in the one that we're looking at right here? Because I'm on page 10. Let's see. Okay, yeah, let's just read it right here. Prior traffic stop. All right, here we go. The state moves under IRA 404 for the admission of defendant's August 21st, 2022 traffic stop in Moscow, Idaho, during which he was stopped for speeding and issued a citation for failing to wear a seatbelt. Specifically, the officer looked inside and saw a map of the house and a flashlight. I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that. That's what you'd have to read. Hey, you're just incorrect with your sort of making it seem like it's absolutely, they have information that he was planning. All they can say is make an inference to that all these times he was going over there, he was planning it. It says right here, a citation for failing to wear a seatbelt. Specifically, the state seeks to admit the officer's OBV footage of the traffic, as well as the citation, arguing it is relevant to proving defendant's identity. Now look at you guys. Let me show you this. So look at. See what I'm saying? Look at this right there. Ding, 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 ding. And it finally got down to where it really is. See that right there? That's the real number right there. And all this was garbage. That never happened. All right, so defendant objects, pointing to Idaho Supreme case law stating that evidence of prior misconduct is relevant on the issue of identity when the evidence demonstrates sufficiently similar as well as distinctive characteristics or patterns between the prior misconduct. Yeah, the traffic stop. Okay. And then down here it says evidence of the crimes, wrongs, or acts may not be admitted when its probative value is entirely dependent upon its tendency to demonstrate the defendant's propensity to engage in such behavior. Such evidence may, however, be admissible for other purposes, including to prove identity. To determine the inadmissibility of evidence under Rule 404B, the court must find the evidence is sufficiently established as fact and relevant as a matter of law to a material and disputed issue other than the character or criminal propensity, whatever. I mean, I just went on and on. The court finds the evidence is relevant to establish defendant's identity and link him to the charged crimes. Indeed, the citation and his camera footage, up to the point that defendant provides his phone number, serve to identify defendant by name, physical appearance, phone number, and address. The evidence also establishes the defendant as the registered owner and driver of a vehicle, the make and model of which was thought to be used by the killer. Further, the evidence places defendant in Moscow at night on one of the dates of interest alleged by the state to be relevant to planning the charged crime. Right. That just means he was out there stalking. Well, you're not going to be right, eh? There is no evidence. They're just going to say that him driving around was him driving around, and they believe that he was stalking the neighborhood and planning. But there's no evidence. They're not going to say that the stop had evidence in his car. Okay, maybe they do, but you're saying that you thought that when he got pulled over, there was more information inside the vehicle. That's how you worded it up above. Now, maybe they do have other items, that maybe at the house, at his house, they found a map or something. I mean, we don't know. You know, maybe they found something, or writings of his talking about how he was going to do it, etc. And maybe, you know, all that stuff. Well, you did say that, though. You kind of worded it like that. You're one of those people that likes to get the show going about yourself, right? If you read the judge's order, he directly states in prosecution as evidence. As evidence. No, he doesn't say that. See, that's not accurate. You said up here, here's your statement. If you read the judge's order, he directly states the prosecution has evidence that on the date of that traffic stop, he was in Moscow planning the attack. So it makes one wonder what else did that. What else he did that day. Right. Okay. Now let's read that again. The evidence also establishes defendant as the registered owner and driver of the vehicle, the make and model of which was thought to be used by the killer. Further, the evidence places defendant in Moscow at night on one of the dates of interest alleged by the state to be relevant to planning. So the date is relevant to the planning. Planning the charged crime. All of these factors played a role. So when you say up above that he directly states the prosecution has evidence that on that date of that traffic stop he was in Moscow planning the attack. They don't say that at all, okay? That does not say that. Ah, Jesus. Why don't you just admit that you wrote that incorrectly? That what's on the screen is incorrect, right, eh? Let's just be honest here. What you wrote on the screen is incorrect, right? You just said, if you read the judge's order, he directly states the prosecution has evidence that on that date of the traffic stop, he was in Moscow planning the attack. And here it says, further, the evidence places defendant in Moscow. That just means the traffic stop places him in Moscow at night on one of the dates of interest alleged by the state to be relevant to planning the charged crime. That's it. It doesn't say up there that they have evidence of anything. God, come on. Jesus. Just be honest. It's just wild. I hope they have something at like his residence where he was keeping track of his each time he would drive over there. I mean, that would be absolutely the most damning thing in the history of the world. But the judge doesn't say that at all. He says that the state alleges that those times that he would drive over there, those 12 pings or the 22 or so that they have now, that he was there planning his eventual attack. That's what the state believes. They doesn't say that they have evidence. It says further the evidence, meaning the body camera, the traffic stop, places defendant in Moscow at night on one of the dates of interest. So there was dates where his phone was pinging late at night, and that happens to be one of the times he was there. Ah, Jesus. Oh, God. Anyways, you worded it incorrectly up there, eh? You said that the judge said that they have evidence, and they did not say that. They just believe that he was there planning on those other trips. Okay, can you just accept that? You said it right here. You said, no, but I know you said it wasn't in the car. That's not, but the judge didn't even say what you have on the screen right here. Okay? Or I'm just not going to let you get away with it. I'm not one of the people that say agree to disagree. A is incorrect in the statement on the screen right now, and I'm not going to discuss it with you any further. You are incorrect. They might have something later that we'll find at trial, but the judge did not say that. Okay? So when you worded it that way, I said, I've never heard that. What do you mean to break the sliding glass door? Yes, I'm just saying, it doesn't say that at all. No one else was involved. He had no friends to even have coffee with. But you think he had some that would murder with him. Yeah, these people are... Yeah. But hey, I hope you're right, that at trial they show, like, every night he was writing it down in his journal, like, ooh, yeah. So on this night I could see Madison up there, and then Kaylee was over here, and then the next night, okay, and he was taking notes, and it was in a journal or something. Man, that would be incredibly damning. Now, I don't know if he's been at the house before. I'm just saying that I think that I think it's possible that Kohberger actually went to the house and figured out that the door was ajar or something like that. I mean, that'd be crazy. I mean, if the door was ajar, or what if he did it? I mean, that's what I put this out there as theories the other day. What if he broke that lock on that door on one of those nights that he was there leading up to the homicides? You know, using his screwdriver. Maybe one night he pried his way in and he walked in there and he got a little, maybe he just walked to the base of the stairs, looked in the living room, and then he left. And now he knows that that's broken. And he also knows how to do it now, too. You must be way behind, A. We're already done talking about that. You said that way, like 20 minutes ago. We're on to something else. Yes, he broke in with his eyebrows. His eyebrows were... He committed all the murders. His eyebrows upstairs, and him in downstairs. That guy's... Maybe they should have charged his eyebrows, too. Let's see. I'm still not sure he had to break the lock based on videos. They didn't see anything in his car or anything that night. I mean, it'd be really cool if, you know, in the video there's a balaclava or something sitting on his side chair, you know, the passenger seat. But apparently they can't mention that. Surprise wasn't worried about his eyebrows not being covered. I'm not. He's just, you know, he figured they wouldn't be able to recognize him. He probably didn't realize that he had bushy eyebrows. He only now does because people mentioned it. Thank you, Jim Long. What the hell is a gigawatt?
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
Yeah, what the hell is a gigawatt? Hey, I'm done talking to you about this, okay? I'm not interested in what you said because you were incorrect. And sure, I think it might be interesting later if they come up with something, but I was just merely arguing that what you said on the screen was not accurate. Okay? All the rest of it, sure. They might have notes somewhere, etc. That's not what you said. It wasn't just inartful, it was inaccurate. All right? So I do not want to talk about it anymore with you. You're sort of taking up the bandwidth of the show. It's not interesting. All right, sliding glass doors are bad. You need a block of wood. Yeah, or like a dowel, you know. Those are pretty good. Put a dowel in there, kind of keeps it from being open. You can cut them short so you can open it up like a window. You can have it so it can open up 6 inches or so. I'm talking about DNA and not, I'm not sure what that means. I'm talking about DNA and not covering everything. You said above, you said Surprised he wasn't worried about his eyebrows not being covered. And I'm not sure what it means. I'm talking about DNA and not covering everything. Well, how would he get in there? He would wear like a full body suit where it's just sort of a mesh in front of his face? I'm sure he didn't think about his eyebrows. You always say what? It's just... Do you remember the issue Kaylee's dad said about the lock? I remember him early on saying he replaced... I think that was Xana's dad. I don't think that was Kaylee's dad, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Maybe that's just my memory. But here's what I am surprised about Zozo's. How come they didn't find one of the hairs from his eyebrow on the ground? So it was Xana's dad. Okay. I was right. Right. That's what I said. The only one that acknowledged that was Jessica. Yeah, but he probably didn't realize he had big, thick eyebrows, you know. Like he just didn't, you know, he doesn't seem very aware. You know, that's why he said, you know, you've got nice birthing hips.
Do you think he planned on never returning to Idaho? Wasn't his apartment mostly empty?
Well, I think he had planned to go back there, but with the teacher, well, him getting sort of fired from his job, I mean, maybe he wasn't going to go back, but I think he sort of planned to go back. I mean, he did get his license plate changed to Washington. I don't know if we do. Here, let's ask ChatGPT. Here, I got one for it. Is losing eyebrow hair something a criminal should be aware of? Should be concerned with, like in the Koberger case with those huge eyebrows? Answer in bro mode. Here we go, everybody. Answer in bro mode. All right, what's going to happen?
Oh, bro, 1000% yes. If you're rocking bushy brows like Brian the Caterpillar Face Koberger, and you're out there committing crimes like a low-budget Riddler, you better believe those brows could betray you, my dude. Here's the thing. Eyebrow hairs equal to straight-up DNA gold mines. Those bad boys are rooted, bro. Not like the ones that just fall out after you rub your face because your ex ghosted you. Nah, we're talking follicles with nuclear DNA. And if one of those thick logs falls off mid-creep while you're stabbing your way through a crime scene, boom, crime lab jackpot. Now pair that with the fact that this guy was described as having bushy eyebrows by a surviving roommate. Yeah, Dylan wasn't even sure she saw a human, but she was real sure she saw an eyebrow aura hovering in the dark like a villain's shadow. That's how dominant they were, bro. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Koberger's brows entered the room 3 seconds before he did, like they got their own zip code. And so yeah, losing eyebrow hair? It's definitely something a criminal should be concerned about, especially when your DNA's clinging to each one like it's hanging on for dear life. Koberger's mistake was thinking he could outsmart forensics with a criminology degree, but his DNA-shedding shag rug of a forehead had other plans. Moral of the story? If you're gonna commit crimes, wax first, bro. Wax first.
Okay, hold on. But how common is it for eyebrow hair to fall out? It seems like you have to like pluck it out, you know, like, I mean, obviously it comes out, but all right, bro, let's break it down real quick.
All right, bro, let's break it down real quick. Eyebrow hair fallout ain't super common, but it can happen under certain conditions, especially when you're out there doing parkour murder moves in someone's house. Normal shedding stats. On average, humans lose a few eyebrow hairs per day, just like scalp hair.
Wow.
It's part of the natural hair growth cycle. Grow, chill, shed, or repeat. But unlike scalp hair, brows have a shorter growth phase and don't shed in clumps unless something's wrong. When they fall out more, eyebrow hairs might ditch you like a flaky friend if you're sweating like crazy. Heat, stress, adrenaline dump, also known as murder mode. You rub or scratch your face. You're yanking clothes or masks over your face. You've got health stuff like thyroid issues, but let's keep it murder specific here. In a crime scene context, here's where it gets juicy, bro. If you're crawling around, bumping into walls, swiping your forehead because you're sweating bullets, there's a decent chance you drop 1 or 2 hairs, especially if they're bushy like Kohberger's. And if even one of those suckers lands on a blanket, a body, a carpet, that's trace DNA just waiting to snitch. They don't fall out like dandruff, but it ain't rare enough to rule out in a high adrenaline struggle. TLDR, not an everyday thing, but in a high-stress, high-movement crime like what allegedly went down in Idaho. Totally possible a couple rogue eyebrow hairs jumped ship, especially when the brows look like 2 mustaches glued above your eyes. So yeah, bro, criminals with eyebrow dominance should either trim that jungle or risk their brows straight up testifying in court without them.
Well, there you go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is I read this this other sort of professional, on one of the news channels said, it was like she said it was almost like the eyebrow was its own character. I was like, I know. That's exactly what ChatGPT keeps saying. Yeah. Over and over and over again. And yes, when we get to trial, we'll see. I am hoping it's what you were saying later, just not in your original post. What if they would proffer the brows? Let's see, Alan McMahon said, it's unbelievable how the pro-burgers literally think the circumstantial evidence means nothing. They are so delusional. They think all the evidence should be non-admissible. Ryan Kohberger should not have been charged. Yeah, they're idiots, okay? However, if the same information showed up in a case that they were on the other side of, they'd be, oh yeah, this is amazing, this is amazing. That's what I tell you. See, the pro-burgers, they take every single piece of the circumstantial evidence and explain it away instead of linking it all together, which you have to do, and you'll see that it's unreasonable to so at this point it's unreasonable to believe that the DNA, that the white Elantra was not Kohberger's. And it's also unreasonable to believe that the car that's doing those loops is not an Elantra. Okay, because now we know for certain that twice a white Elantra was seen missing its front license plate between 3:30 and 4:02, one at the A&W and the other at the Ridge Road camera. One of the cameras showed that it was a 2014 to 2015 to 2016 white Elantra. Okay, so now, just using common sense, the other white Elantra missing a front plate is also that same one, because it's in that area late at night, a white Elantra missing its front plate when license plates are required in Idaho, front license plate. So then you can track the vehicle after it passed at 328 missing a front license plate. That one they could just see. They thought that it looked like it didn't have one. Where it's definitely at 401, you can see that it's missing a plate. And then, the vehicle makes its way into the complex right after that. And then it's when the DoorDash driver is there, where he doesn't go back into the complex and drives east on Taylor Avenue and then goes on to Ridge Road and then passes that camera missing a plate. The DoorDash driver could be responsible for the video of Kohberger missing a front license plate with the 2014 to 15 to 16 Elantra. Isn't that amazing? Just by the fact that that was there, he passed the King Road residence and then drove all the way back around, and that's why he showed up on that camera. But Gray, he was just a peeping Tom that night. Gray. Yeah, he registered his car in Washington to not only get a front plate, but to change his... And he timed it. I actually think Kohberger timed the killings to match up to where just after the murders he'd be getting new plates on his vehicle. And so that's weird, because that means he realized that they might identify a white Elantra, so now he wants his plates to be different. So that means he already knew that he was doing something stupid, that he was going to be using his own vehicle. And he timed it with the plates being changed because he thought, well, after I kill them, they're going to see me on camera. But if I change the plates, which is so stupid anyways, because if they had plates where they could see his numbers, it would still lead to a guy named Brian Kohberger. But I don't know, man. It's just... I think Kohberger's actually kind of stupid. I gotta be honest. That number is bigger than that. I gotta change that. I guess local patrol cops recognize. Hey, thank you, M10.
Chewbacca?
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to be. As a known lurker around the Moscow neighborhood, but that's not kind of cop knowledge. That's admissible in court. Well, maybe they didn't though. I mean, he was pulled over twice, but one of them was, only one was the late night one, right? And then the other one was during the daytime with that female officer, where he does the claiming the intersection, which I think should be totally legal, by the way. Don't you guys agree? You know when you're you got a two-way highway, and you have to turn left, and there's a light, right? And it's rush hour. And then on the other side, there's traffic coming towards you. And then by the time the light turns yellow again, there's still traffic trying to get through. And it's just, you could sit there for 2 hours unless you have the ability to pull into the intersection and then turn after, you know, like the last car goes by. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, that you know, that has nothing to do with anything. I'm just saying that's what they were talking about in that. Rush hour in Idaho is different. Well, it doesn't really matter, Lisa. It has nothing to do with anything. I'm just telling you that it shouldn't be illegal to do regardless. Don't forget the defense has tips on 2 new perps. Oh yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, as soon as it gets in there, they're going to throw it out. Yeah, it doesn't matter what time of day it is. I mean, I've done it where you're driving and there's a light and there's a guy that wants to turn left and there's just a couple cars, there's a short light, and you're going to sit there again because that guy didn't go and claim the intersection. So the next time it comes around, you likely might not make it again. But if he had claimed the intersection, he could have just turned and then you're next. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't really matter that Idaho... I mean, I don't even know why you threw that in there as a comment. It doesn't make any sense. Let's see... Oh, thank you to Purple Mountain on the PayPal. I hadn't checked in here. And then Florence on a Cash App. And Paulette Leonard. There you go. Yeah, it's weird. It is just totally natural. I don't even understand it. So it's not. I don't even care why he got pulled over. That's not really the point. It's just that, you know, it's just kind of interesting to see him on camera. You know, it's his vehicle. It's a white Elantra. That he got pulled over those other 2 times. He's in a white Elantra. And then he got pulled over late at night. That's the one that really kind of shows that he's in that area over there. Right? Wow, the chat's just dead as a doornail now. Alright, folks, I need to head out. Alright, see you later, Sherry C. Alright, I'm going to do the spin right now up here. Here we go. This is the old one here. Alright, here we go. This is for a notebook. Actually, I gotta add, hold on a second. I'm gonna put it over here. I gotta add the Cash App people and coffees. Hold on. Gotta do this again. I only got one coffee tonight. Man, that's one of the worst. Purple Mountain. All right, there we go. The reason I removed it, because sometimes when I try to enter it on this page, it would run the wheel. So here we go. This is for a notebook. We had some winners from the walkthrough portion earlier. Some people got lost their win because they broke the rule. All right, here we go. Oh, get that off the screen. Hey, looks like M10. All right. M10's the winner. Thank you. There you go. So send me your address with the send me an email with your address in it. The bushy-browed butcher. Yay, she said. Come on, battle me, Elisa Valenzuela. What's the deal? Who cares about the because the traffic flow is different. I'm just talking about, don't you hate that when people just sit there and they don't claim the intersection and they're in front of you? Like when you're driving, and I don't care what situation it is, and you're at an intersection and they want to turn left on a green light, and they just sit there at the white line, and then all of a sudden the light turns yellow and then red, and they're still sitting there. And then you got to wait for the whole other again. And then it's green again, and they're driving across, and they sit there at the white line. Then it turns yellow, and then red again. I mean, it's almost insane. That's why you need the left turn lights. That's why those are important. But when you don't have a left turn light, and you're not able to claim an intersection, ooh, man, that's when road rage happens. Because we can't claim the intersection, Zozo. That's why. Apparently, you can't pull out into the intersection and turn after the last car drives by. Oh yeah, I'll be doing live stream the entire day, Annabella, during the trial. I'll be doing every single day, yeah. It won't just be a podcast, it'll be
What do you
like...
think about people writing books about this case before trial? Cheap money grab, all perfectly okay?
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem. If somebody wrote a book and it's got factual information and it's just, I mean, they might have connections talking to different people, and doesn't really bother me that much. I don't like the one, if you're writing a book that's all just crazy talk, like, hey, the president of the university is involved somehow. It's a big cover-up. You know, they wanted to do, and it's all that kind of stuff. Man, then it would be complete garbage. I'm never going to talk. I don't want to be anywhere near that guy. Because the problem with the guy from England is he's so full of crap, but he can just sort of talk, and people go, wow, wow, ooh, yeah, wow, and it's just garbage, you know? And those conspiracy theory people are hard to argue with. Because how can you prove that an alien spacecraft didn't land there? I don't know. Yeah, how can I prove it? Well, go to NASA and see if they've got any records. You know, go to the airport and see if they've got any. Yeah, those are good. Left turn lights. Seems to me it'd be somewhat irresponsible to write a book. I don't know. How come? I guess if the book was like accusatory and I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with it? I mean, I do my show and I believe Kohberger is 100% the killer. I have no doubt at all that, you know, I'm actually surprised when people have doubt, when they're around going, I'm just not sure, you know, something just doesn't seem right. What? What doesn't seem right? That this incel wacko who said you have nice birthing hips, who was put on a list at a bar because he was too creepy with people, had complete knowledge of crime scenes, etc., who drove a white Elantra, who purchased a K-bar knife from Amazon and a balaclava, whose DNA was found on the very same knife sheath at the crime scene, and the white Elantra missing a front license plate that he drives was seen driving around the neighborhood and then parked in a 12-minute window where all the victims were killed, and that's when the knife sheath was left there. Man. But Gray, lots of people have Elantras. There's 50,000 in the area, you bastard. That's right. There's 20,000 people in Moscow, Idaho, and they all drive Elantras. In fact, they all have two. It's amazing. Everybody in the town drives a white Elantra. It's basically little boxes, you know, that everything's the same. Everybody's got everything exactly the same. Yeah, I'm not really interested in reading. The one guy wrote a book on it. I do have that. I've never really read it, though. I don't know why. I might look at it, though, because he maybe talks about stuff that he found out about. That's all not admissible. Yeah, it's all not admissible. Every bit of it. Not Elantra missing a front plate that cops aren't stopping because they've got a PA back plate where that's legal to have. Yeah, we know all that. We've gone over that a lot. Pennsylvania, you can just have a back license plate. Same thing, I think, in Indiana. Do you think Kohberger was Papa Roger? I think it's possible. You know? I did a video on it a while back. Yeah, it kind of looks like him a little bit. And I asked one of the family members, and they said, I haven't seen that though, what he said, but so is there a warrant for BK's Reddit account? Yeah, what they said was something to the effect of that somewhere in the warrants it might mention that. I don't know. I haven't seen that yet, though. Other day I was looking at Papa Rogers' avatar and thought maybe Koberger used one of those aging apps to make his look like an older age. Could be. When it's green light, but you have to wait for oncoming traffic before you left turn. And if you inch out there, you can make the turn before the... Yeah, and the cars will see you there. See, when you claim the intersection, the cars that are going to be driving perpendicular to you will see you, and they're not going to just ram into you. You know, the car goes through. What sucks is when the oncoming car goes through a yellow light. Okay, then it's like, man, you're right at the light. You know, you're right there. Asking about why people commit crimes. Well, that was Koberger's. Yeah, it was a questionnaire for his college. I did see a warrant regarding Reddit, but didn't look at it. When was that? Maybe I can. Let me go look for it. Hold on. Now, why wouldn't you have looked at it if you saw it? Now, the word Reddit doesn't show up anywhere. Well, let me go back to the 2020. Maybe it's old. Hold on. The 2023. Wow, that's a whole lot of stuff. Oh, there you go. Order to seal Reddit. That one? No, that's probably different. Order to seal Reddit. Let me try 2022. It's not in there. 2023. I don't see a warrant regarding Reddit. It just says order to seal Reddit. That's it. Papa Rogers is a person who popped up, I think, in Facebook groups, and he seemed to, or Reddit even, and he seemed to ask questions that were really unusual types of questions, and he's the one that first came out and said, oh, they must have found the knife sheath, because they said they found a fixed blade. But I think you could deduce that from them saying they found a fixed blade. How would you know that they had a fixed blade? Because fixed blades need a knife sheath, and other blade, because the wounds would look very similar. You wouldn't be able to say, oh, it's a fixed blade, just be because of the wounds. Yeah, so it's kind of, and there's a picture of them that looks similar. I mean, if you guys want, this one person is trying to get me to talk about it, you know, bring them on, but they're talking about the drive home has these implications. I don't know. I think, you know, people can start trying to find connections at some point. And it does look like him. Yeah. Let me see if I can find, I had a folder on it the other day. Yeah, there it is. That wasn't right. I don't know what this stuff is in this folder here. Yeah, it wasn't even that long ago when I made that video. No, I think it's just Roger with no S at the end. Hey, it's Jim Lawn. Thank you.
Ask the spirit box.
Because it's for Elliot Rodger. That's where they say, like, he's the father of incels. So he's Papa Roger, and then, you know, I think Koberger is kind of similar. Yeah, I think it's possible, yeah. I mean, in here, we've asked it on here before. Look at, is Papa Roger Brian Koberger? Yeah.
The theory that Brian Koberger operated the Facebook account Papa Roger has been widely discussed online, but no official confirmation has been made by law enforcement. Why some believe Koberger is Papa Roger. Accurate predictions, before certain details were publicly released, Papa Roger made posts suggesting knowledge of the crime scene, such as mentioning a knife sheath being left behind. This detail was later confirmed in official reports. Sportkey to +2 Reddit, +2 Outkick +2. Behavioral similarities. The tone.
Hold on a second. Use your own information. And
Ike bro, let's talk about the whole is Papa Roger actually Brian Koberger theory. And yeah, buckle up because this one's got Reddit rabbit hole energy all over it.
Yeah.
The theory. Some internet sleuths are out here yelling Koberger is Papa Roger, like it's the final scene in Scooby-Doo, and honestly, it ain't the dumbest take, bro. Who TF was Papa Roger? This dude was dropping hot takes in Facebook groups right after the Idaho murders, acting like a wannabe detective/edgelord. He was, asking way too specific questions, suggesting inside knowledge like I think the sheath was left at the scene, trying to flex like he was smarter than the cops. Sound familiar? Cause it kinda screams I took criminology classes and now I think I'm the Zodiac. Why people think it's Koberger. But
well, one thing that's kind of interesting is like that survey that he did, some of the comments that he made, and you know, he would make posts asking people questions, and guess what? He tried to really push people away from one of the only things that he really was like, you know, I don't think it was about the white Elantra. He kept saying, yeah, it's just a red herring. He was pushing people away from that. Isn't that sort of interesting? But he asked questions in the group that sounded exactly the same as the questions on Brian Koberger's survey that he asked. And that's before Koberger was ever even known. You know, at least one of the questions was almost identical.
Bush League Sherlock vibes. Papa Roger typed like someone trying to be the smartest guy in the room, which is kind of Koberger's whole brand. Weird obsession with the case. Homie was laser focused on the Idaho murders before a lot of stuff.
Look, at the people that say that the wounds are different, they don't know. Now, if he had two different weapons, sure, they could have been different. But right now, all we know is there was a K-bar knife used, and the people who say that there's two different wounds, those are just people speculating, because that is not in any of the documents, nor was it ever mentioned by the medical examiner or anybody else. So those are just people online saying those things.
Was public. Dude was basically live blogging his own crime, allegedly. Knife sheath prediction. This one's wild. He straight up mentioned a knife sheath being left behind before the affidavit dropped. Either he got lucky, had a leak, or, yeah bro, goes dark right after the arrest. Papa Roger went radio silent the second Koberger got busted. Like ghosted harder than your ex after that one drunk voicemail. Coincidence? Maybe. Suspicious? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But hold up. Let's not go full tinfoil. There's zero confirmed evidence that links Koberger to that account. No IP addresses, no devices, no confession, no official police mention. For all we know, it could be some other dude trying to LARP as a serial killer profiler. So while it feels like it could be him, right now it's just internet vibes and Reddit sleuthing, and you can't arrest a dude on vibes unless you're in Florida. Final verdict, bro mode certified. Could Brian want brows of doom, Koberger be Papa Roger? Maybe. Does it look sketchy AF? Absolutely. But until the FBI kicks down the Wi-Fi router and pulls chat logs, it's just a theory. A true crime theory, bro.
See? All right, how about this one? Isn't it logical to assume a knife sheath was left after law enforcement mentioned the weapon was a fixed blade, how else would law enforcement, or how else would investigators know what kind of blade was used unless the sheath was left behind? Let's see what happens.
Brew, yes. You're cooking now. That's a legit observation and a tight piece of logical deduction, and here's why. The whole fixed blade thing, law enforcement publicly said early on that the murder weapon was likely a fixed blade knife, specifically a Ka-Bar-style combat knife. Now let's ask the obvious question, bro. How the hell would they know that? Because there was no weapon left at the scene, no surveillance video showing the suspect carrying it, no eyewitness saying Bayo he had a Rambo knife. So the only way you nail that down with confidence is if you have a sheath, a knife impression, or a distinct wound pattern that screams military steel. And wound analysis can suggest the type of knife, but it's rare to say with confidence it was a Ka-Bar-style blade unless you've got something physical, like, say, a sheath chilling on the bed next to a body. Enter logical deduction time. So even if you were just some true crime nerd in a Facebook group, and the cops say, hey guys, we think it's a fixed blade knife, your brain's gonna go, wait, how do they know that?
Right, exactly.
Oh snap. They probably found a sheath, so the whole Papa Roger predicted the sheath thing sounds way cooler on TikTok than it actually is. He might have just used logic, not insider knowledge. Too long, didn't read bro mode activated.
Isn't that weird?
Claiming it was a fixed blade knife is
I mean, I don't think that's weird. That said exactly what I just said a minute ago. Once you feed it with the logical information, that's exactly what I just said.
basically a neon sign saying, yo, we found a sheath and we're not saying it directly yet. So yeah, you didn't need to be the killer to figure that out. Just needed a brain and a Red Bull. The real eyebrow raiser, pun 100% intended, would be if he said they'll find DNA on the snap button. Now that'd be spooky accurate. But saying they left a sheath after cops mention a fixed blade? That's not clairvoyance, bro. That's just crime logic 101.
Boom. See? There you go. See that? That's how I look at that. Same thing. You know, once you realize, oh, yeah, that's right, they mentioned it was a fixed blade knife. Somebody out there that just thought through it a little clearer than other people said that, yeah, oh, they must have the sheath. Because how else? Because all of us were saying, well, how do they know it's a fixed blade or a Ka-Bar knife? How do they know that? Because remember, they were saying that. They were even looking around at different places that sold that type of a knife, right? Remember that? I mean, like within days. So they must have been really certain about that. Anyways, there you go, you guys. I think that's gonna do it. Been on here a long time. 3 hours and 22 minutes. That could have been a mistake. I think it's also possible it was left there as a calling card. I think it's 50-50 for me, because there's no information that indicates that it was accidentally left there, especially when you realize that it appears the knife was almost pristine other than one single source of DNA on the button snap. Right? See that? So why was it clean? Like, why would you clean a knife sheath if you were going to take it with you? From the off chance that you might drop it there? I mean, that's ludicrous. I just think... so I don't know. It's very possible, and it could be that there's blood all over the thing. It's just all mixture, and the only single source of DNA was on the button snap. And if he's a serial killer studier, and let's say we believe that he's copying people like Danny Rollins, maybe little Ted Bundy, and these kind of people, wouldn't he also want to throw in something? Like a calling card, like, hey, I was here, and he was going to kill other people in the future with Ka-Bar knives and leave a sheath at each one of those scenes. And then eventually, when he was arrested, he'd be called Koberger the Ka-Bar Killer. I mean, it's just so perfect. Yeah. So for a while it would be called the K-Bar Killer, and it would sound like his name to him. Ah, Koberger, K-Bar. Yeah. Ooh, that's going to be great. Just a thought. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Annabella, Texera. You're not the same. You're not the... We used to have somebody here named Annabella Roma. I'm not sure if you're that same person, but... Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Yep. And he also was trying to buy another one, so he must realize, oh shit, you know. But he'd be buying another one even if he left it there intentionally, because he'd think, well, I guess, you know what, you'd be more paranoid about it. Like, let's see. If he left it there accidentally, if he left it there intentionally, he's still going to create a record that he didn't have it then, try to get rid of the order. But if he left it there, it'd probably make him more paranoid to go do that. Where if he left it there intentionally, you know, he may have thought that, I don't know. I think it's just, either way, he would probably have wanted to get a replacement. Oh, we used to have an Annabella Roma. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I want to say thank you up here to Lizzie Robb, Allie Cake, Mallory Beavers, 3 months, then Mallory Beavers, then Don Weishman, and then we've got Lanky Tor, Samuel, and Triple O. There's that. Yeah, there's 3 of them. Kami, and then Kim, Not Your Cup of Tea, with the one and only cat eye of the evening. Then we have Rainy Joe gifted a membership. Then South Carolina Girl gifted one. Then we have Timothy Moore, Marcy, Alley Cake, E.B. Clownin. And then, is that Tarn? And then Jessica Schubach gifted a membership. Then Christine Hale, a new member. Then Michelle H., Alley Cake, Rainy Joe, Incognito Mode, Winslow GSP, Rainy Joe for 3 months. Thank you. Then Rainy Joe gifted one. Then M10. Then Motivational Living. Let's see. Where was I at here? Oh, yeah. And then Eileen Blundell, Lindsay, 15 months, thank you. And then Kaylee D, then RMB, then Curly Lock Diva, or Diva. Curly Lock Diva. I don't know why I keep saying that Diva every single time. And then M10 gifted 5 memberships. Then Curly Lock Diva gifted one. Then MKM gifted one. Then Wicked Curves gifted one. And then Jax D gifted one. And then I gifted 5. And then we had Rainy Joe, Jimmy Sotak, Jim Lon, Jimmy Sotak again. Then M10, Jimmy Sotak, and Jim Lon. And then, as I said earlier, we had there you go. All right, cool. I just got the M10 email. Then we had let's see, Purple Mountain Sampa did a PayPal, and then we had Cash App from Florence White and Buy Me a Coffee from Paulette. I think that's the first time Lisa Valenzuela didn't get me a coffee in all the days we've had coffees. So thank you for all those times you got me coffees. Let's see. It's me, Mike, ever the totality of everything. Ever the totality of everything. I don't know what that means. The bushy eyebrow killer. How about you just call it the eyebrow killer? Oh, and Koberger was there too. Well, it does say Tarn. Oh, what did Tarn say? I don't see them. I don't know where Tarn is. I'm not really section. Oh. I'm confused. Yep. His eyebrow made him do it. There's more coffee coming. That's all right. I was just saying. I was like, wait, what? You're like the coffee. His eyebrow made him do it. Someone asked what piece of evidence would get him. The person mentioned a combo of evidence. Something like, who are you talking about? Asked what piece of evidence would get him. And what do you mean the person? Who are you referring to in that comment there? Is his middle name B? I don't know what his middle name is. Who's me? What do you mean me? Man, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Who the hell knows what tomorrow will bring, but we'll be here anyways. All right, so thank you for being here, and thank you all very much for your generosity and getting us to the goal, and keeping things moving along this month. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so thanks for being here, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for
The
quite a while
Coffee
now.
Queen.
And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda. I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender.
You pieces of shit
And
got
in
to
the
the
end
jury,
of that,
didn't you?
I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
All right. I guess the thing about the... if I had more information... didn't we hear a while back, now that I kind of think about it, that there was some other blood or something on that knife sheath? I just things like I read that in one of the documents somewhere. I don't remember, though. And if there is other blood on there, then it makes it less likely that he left it there intentionally. But if it's a pristine knife sheath with only a tiny little bit of DNA on the button, then I think then it's more likely he left it there intentionally. Because that means he made sure, he thought he cleaned it all, and he missed it. A little spot. Now I'm pretty sure, I thought I read one time in one of the documents, just this little something about other, I don't know, we'd have to go find it, but I thought I remembered that. I was like, I remember even mentioning it on the show, like, oh wow, so they did find, something like that. Maybe we'll have to go dig around and try to find that one. Alright. See if anybody can find, if you can find it out there, I'll send you the notebook package. If you find what I just said. Alright. Alright, thanks everybody. See you guys later. And be safe out there.